It's going. Alright, as far as I can tell, we are going.
Is there video of the cheese?
No, but I can make their video of cheese.
Is my knee? There's
Video
my knee.
Of your knees.
There's your knee too.
Cheese and knees.
We got cheese and knees.
Wait, can we put the camera like a little more
Yeah,
cheese
that's
focused?
what
A little less knee focused?
Yeah.
That's what I was
We don't want to find those people on the internet.
the cheese and knees people on the internet.
Yeah. They're just like out hunting. They're like, just cheese, dang it.
Yeah.
Hello. This is
Adjusting this sometimes.
This is Late Night Radio, where we only play jazz. Jazz, all the time. Jazz, nothing but
Gosh,
jazz.
that's the thing. I'd like a way to like improve this stupid knob. It slides a lot because it's cheap.
Mm.
Okay. Like a
Alright, if there's-
ball joint thing from Amazon.
Uh-huh.
If there's some knees in the shot.
You gotta like sometimes you gotta like take both hands and like really crank it.
Okay, I can hide my knees.
It's okay.
Anyway, nobody's even.
Yeah, we
watching,
don't really
so-
do introductions because we're just kind of.
Is the whole thing going to be on there though, or do you trim the
No,
front?
Nothing is
It's
gonna
just-
be.
Oh, okay, nice. So this is it. This
From,
is
from previous
on the permanent
experience
record.
Doing, podcast stuff. It's just like the editing process is so annoying that.
Uh-huh.
It's like,
Once we
who
have,
cares?
yeah.
once we have like millions of people listening, maybe we can.
Well, even
edit
then,
it.
it'd just be live, so it'd be like, who cares?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like, so now you have to do the listener has to do the work of getting past this stuff, and then there's the reward, right? It's
Yeah.
you have to. They have a vested interest. Then they have skin in the game. They feel like they did something.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's exactly what we were thinking.
yeah.
We're not lazy at all.
All right, for all the listeners out there, tonight's snack, or I guess tell you guys. So these are all cheeses from Utah.
Oh.
Nice.
You have this one right here is a Gouda.
Uh huh.
This is a very sharp cheddar. This is cheddar with bourbon, I guess.
Like the liquor.
Yeah. So I haven't actually tried that one, but
Sounds interesting.
and here is like a brie type cheese. So these are all cheeses from Utah.
Cool.
For all of you Florida people who don't often get cheeses from Utah, you know, despite the fact that I know you want them.
yeah, that's what we're always talking about in Florida.
You're like, oh yes, the cheese in Utah.
Yeah, I mean, I lived in Utah for many years, and I don't think I ever had the cheese from Utah.
I don't think I have either.
Yeah.
I mean, I have, but on accident most of the time.
Yeah.
And then behind us is a drink, which you can actually hear hissing. Cause I
What?
think
That's
it's,
what that was.
I think it's actually about to explode. It's some
should
homemade
probably-
ginger beer. We
Oh,
should
is
we
it?
should very gently open it, or it's I'm like.
Like take
like-
it in the bathroom and open it
There's
over the
you
sink.
don't think I should open it right there?
Just right.
Next to all these
Next-
priceless works of art.
All the $35 works of art.
So I've been
That's substantial. That adds up.
oh
Ooh.
I've been burping it at my house. So
Some good ginger beer.
Hmm.
I remember back at BYU there was a bit when Casey and I were making ginger beer, and I made one that was ridiculously strong.
Yeah.
Like you drank like a bottle cap of it, and you're just like, and you're like, okay, I'm good.
That's
I
funny.
kind of want to make that again because I actually really liked it,
Yeah.
but it was so intense. Because it'd just be like, oh yeah, just put in like maybe like 2 inches worth or something.
Of,
When you
like of
boil-
ginger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just took like a whole like.
it's still hissing, but I
Thing
let
of
out like a
ginger.
lot of gas, so I think it's okay.
Wow.
If it explodes on me, this is my wait camera. Moonshine. It's my moonshine. You can't even see it. It's okay. There's nobody watching.
I'm taking a picture to show my wife, though.
Only is missing some teeth.
Yeah. What's in it?
Ginger and peach.
Uh-huh.
And sugar and honey and some yeast.
Oh.
And it's been sitting around for a few days. So maybe some anaerobic, some lacto fermentation.
So, is it alcoholic?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. But it's yeast that's fermented.
Yeah, but I think it would have to ferment a long time before it'd be alcoholic.
Gotcha.
We might find out that that's not the case.
Because I hear you're bringing me alcohol and bourbon cheese.
Yeah, that's true. We're
I
having
feel like I'm getting initiated here.
we're having a rowdy night.
Yeah.
Also, there's knife and extra.
Ooh.
I already did that and it did not misbehave. But now that it's got this foam.
Hissing at you.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
You gotta like take it over the sink in the other room. I'm gonna try some of these.
I like
cheese
let out
bits.
a bunch of air, but I guess now that like it's awake and angry.
Oh man, that's exciting.
That is a sharp cheddar.
Yeah. I'll try some too. Which one is this? Are
That's
they
a cheddar,
next
I
to
think.
their? This is the cheddar. Okay. Mm. That's good.
Good cheese.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, is there a feed on there to show when somebody pops up?
So this is the comment thing. So
just the comment.
If
Does
people
it
say
does it say
something there-
viewers somewhere?
this will
Okay.
show. Oh,
Oh, we got somebody.
potentially.
Potentially.
I'm assuming it's somebody.
Yeah.
I don't know. I sent out a link to some people, but
Right on.
I don't know who it is.
Yeah.
Usually, if it's somebody I know, they'll comment.
Right. Right.
So we'll see. Now that we're in like nothing's happening, they'll probably leave.
Right. So you're working on woodblock prints. What else are you working on these days? What's going on in Phil's workshop?
I'm getting into painting a little bit.
Cool.
So there are some gouache paintings I did of some pears behind those bananas over there.
Oh yeah.
I painted all those tulips up on the wall.
Nice.
So
That's awesome. Those are pretty.
I want to start doing bigger ones. It's a lot. I always like get kind of stressed out doing them. But
Yeah.
they're kind of like when I finish, it's satisfying. Except for the last one I did, that was like not a good time.
Why do you get stressed out?
Because it's more like it's one of those things where you kind of just have to trust the process, and it like doesn't look good until it starts looking good. And like while you're doing it, at least for me, because I don't paint that often, I always feel like I have no idea what I'm doing and I'm screwing this up, and it's like kind of stressful. And then when it starts working, you're like, okay, but it takes like hours to get to that point, and you're like, okay, I do some of these fairly quickly. Like the tulips, I could do pretty quick. These are also very small. They're like 3x5 or something.
Yeah.
3x4.
Yeah.
I want to do bigger ones though. So that's one thing. And I'd like to do oil painting, but that's like too much. I have enough going on already right now.
Yeah.
I already have like a little sidetrack project of getting into like metal plating and stuff. So
So you're booked. Your schedule's full.
Because something I want to... There's a bunch of printmaking stuff I want to do.
I tried that one. It was delicious.
Which one?
Right here.
The very cheddar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what's this one?
So that's Gouda.
Okay.
It's like a hard Gouda.
I'm gonna eat it on a cracker.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I don't really like Gouda normally. I took a nibble of it though, and it was really good.
I love Gouda.
I like it.
But yeah, I have a bunch of other printmaking stuff I want to do that I haven't gotten to yet. So because with the stuff I have for metal plating, I can use it to do electro etching. And I could potentially use that for a different printing process to etch like copper plates.
Uh-huh.
But I haven't tried that yet. I'll probably try that later. I'm headed back to Michigan in like less than a week, so I might try it when I get back.
Yeah.
I also want to try doing some intaglio press printing because I have the press for it, and I can use some junk like plexiglass I have to make plates.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of want to do that. Also, I want to get into 3D printing.
Sheesh.
I have so many things I want to do.
What about risograph? You ever done that?
No.
Yeah, that's like it's a risograph machine, and it's kind of like screen printing, but for like posters and comics. People do it, right?
Okay.
So it's a printer where it'll print in layers, like screen printing.
Interesting.
Yeah. And it has a kind of specific look to it. Like there's kind of some texture to the print. So that's like a boutique way that people will print their comics and zines sometimes. So I'm interested in that, and then also like screen printing for T-shirts is something I want to explore because like I have T-shirts on my website, but they're like print on demand, and I don't have a lot of control over the quality.
They're pretty.
Yeah.
They're pretty crappy quality.
Speaking of someone who has bought several, you are the
because I don't want to destroy the R for shirt. Like it's like my keepsake.
Yeah.
Because I wore it once. And the collar was immediately well, I give up.
Yeah.
I actually wear the.
That's like the shirt I got from TKO. I watched it once and the collar started coming undone, which is sad.
Yeah.
But,
no, I want to do some high quality shirts. I think that'd be good.
No, I've wanted to do screen printing as well. That's one where I'm like, I could do it, but I'd have to that'd have to be the thing I'm doing in here.
Yeah, because it takes up space and toxic fumes.
I could do at least the printing part. I don't think I could make the screens in here because I don't have ventilation.
Right.
Because you need to do it's a whole curing process for the resin and stuff. And
yeah, my first job was helping do digital layer separations at a screen printing warehouse, and they had a huge warehouse where they were actually doing making the shirts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I have thought about that because I think it'd be cool to do. But
yeah,
Casey,
can you hit me with some of that?
Yeah. I had to
For
make
me
sure
right
it
now.
wasn't poisonous.
Yeah, thanks.
It's a little boring. That's all.
Okay.
It's not super gingery. It's not super sweet.
Yeah.
I got some hot honey you could put in there.
Honestly. Well, if it was hot, because otherwise if you just pour honey in a cold drink, it floats around.
Yeah, it doesn't dissolve into it.
Yeah. But
no,
honestly, you could use a little more sugar. Stupid yeast.
I don't have sugar.
Hate all the sugar.
Well.
Well, I was telling Mike about when I made the really strong ginger that one time. That's what we need.
That was the good stuff right there. Did we? Yeah, this is the first time I've made any ginger ale or ginger beer or whatever since then.
Thank you.
Yeah, we had all sorts of experiments.
Yeah.
There was one that had there was one that was pretty musty and iffy, and Eliza drank it, and I'm glad she's not dead.
Well, I like it.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's again, if anything, it's just a teeny bit boring. It's not.
Right.
I wish I put in a lot of ginger. I wish it had like you're like ginger help. That's always kind of fun. It's like too gingery.
Yeah.
Or it's like hot.
No, it's
That's
pleasant.
one of the things I look for in a ginger beer. Is like I want it to be like exciting.
Yeah, like violent.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
I like drinks like that. And there aren't very many. Like I've had a few drinks that
like the only one
like they're advertised as being like jalapeno, and then you have it and you're like it's not spicy at all. It's just jalapeno flavored, and you're like,
yeah.
I wanted this to be like spicy,
Right.
and it wasn't. And so it's like very disappointing. I really like this softer one. I forget what it is.
Is that the cheddar?
No, the whatever this one is.
Oh, is that
the bourbon cheese?
Yeah, that one's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not very gingery.
It's not very peachy either. I mean,
It's pleasant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I don't want to like get too down on it because it is pleasant.
I bet it'd help if you had a stomachache.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not like a kick drink.
Yeah.
You get like a little bit of peach. You get a bit of it, but it's all right. Basically, just like a peach ginger tea, honestly.
Yeah. Which I'm not complaining about that.
Oh, yep. That
Yeah,
one
it's like
person left because it was too boring.
It's like I successfully made like peach LaCroix.
Mm-hmm.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Like,
All you'd have to do is just not have the sugar in there. It'd be extra not sweet.
Yeah. So, Casey, what are you working on these days?
I'm up to my ears in freelance, which is really great.
Oh, yeah. Good for you.
Working at home is pretty rough.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like have a lot of work and I'm like constantly interrupted, and I'm like last night I just like stayed up till 3. It's like the doom. I'm like wondering if that's ever actually going to stop.
Which part?
The staying up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, just that every now and then you have to crunch.
Yeah.
And it's like, am I ever going to not, will I ever be done crunching? Like, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or if it's just like the nature of the work.
Right.
So yeah, I'm I got lots of freelance, some cool stuff,
Yeah.
some not cool stuff.
What's the cool stuff?
There's a YouTube channel that's pretty big called Dr. Glaucom Flecken. It's like a doctor humor. Like
Okay.
Except for it's actually super accessible to anyone because the guy is just outright funny. He's super duper funny.
Huh.
So he's.
I wonder if I've seen it.
I had never.
I've seen one where he talks like about medical school and I don't know.
Might be that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he does little characters where it's like, oh, here's the head surgeon talking to the med student.
Mm-hmm.
And it like kind of lampoons the different stereotypes. But he's doing he's doing like a pilot animation that he wants to like pitch around, I guess.
Cool.
So I'm storyboarding for that. I'm probably gonna animate.
Sweet.
How'd
you find him?
Well, so that one's not me. That was do you remember Ali Law?
Yeah.
Allison Atadi? Oh my gosh. Hopefully she never hears of that. I don't actually know how to say her last name. It's Portuguese.
Uh-huh.
So she's project managing for it.
Okay, cool.
And she just posted that she was looking for someone, and I was like, hey, I can do that.
Yeah.
So that's fun. That's like, like I'm storyboarding for an actual like cartoon, which is always more fun than like other stuff.
Yeah, it's not like motion graphics.
Yeah. Yeah, I just did like not the most dreadful motion graphics thing, like kind of a fun motion graphics thing, but still, yeah, the motion graphics is... That's what I was up late doing.
Yeah, yeah.
And thankfully, okay, shout out to Adobe.
Oh.
I want to go find whoever works on After Effects, give them some hugs. So, I almost lost my After Effects. I almost lost like 6 hours of work.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, they've built in like about 500 different ways to recover stuff.
Oh, good.
It's so nice.
Yeah.
I just like, because I kept finding, like, I kept hitting dead ends, but then they were like, oh, but there's another way you could, like, go and find this thing.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, no way.
Yeah, yeah.
And I say 500, but there's really, like, 6 or 7 different methods to, like, recover stuff in After Effects.
Yeah.
And it was really nice. So it only took me, like, maybe, like, an hour to recover what I should have probably been lost.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
That's nice.
That is good.
I was going to just, like, collapse on the floor and weep.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Go run away from home in the forest.
Just my backyard.
Yeah.
Now it's a cheese eating ASMR. I'm just like...
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I had a cracker and I was like, I better back off the mic a little bit with that.
Yeah, that one with the bourbon's good. I always pick out random like cookbooks, and I found one recently that's some guy who does like southern cooking.
Yeah.
And every time I find a cookbook that's cool, I end up, every single one of them's like, oh yeah, you gotta get this alcohol and everything cooks with this. And I'm like, not another one.
Yeah.
So this guy's like, everything needs to be cooked with bourbon. I have yet to like cook any of his recipes with bourbon. I'm like debating whether I'm gonna go buy another thing
it's a
to
random
cook with.
alcohol to cook with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he was like, it's like cheating because bourbon, sits and gets all of these like rich flavors over years, and then you just like take it and use it.
I mean, it's kind of like using a tincture or something.
Yeah.
Like a vanilla extract or something like that. It's just a whole bunch of stuff extract if you think about it.
Yeah. Just, it's actually like something with like a lot of flavor in it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't used it. I'm probably not going to. That one maybe more so because liquors are like you can just like keep them.
Yeah.
But because cooking's kind of my hobby, I'll oftentimes like go get like I try and do a bunch of things that have wine in them all together.
So you just use it up.
Because there's a bunch of times where I've like used, because wine goes bad pretty fast. Whereas like a liquor, like a whiskey could like sit like in a corner for years. But like wine goes bad in like a week. So I've like wasted a lot of wine over the years. So I try and do like 3 or 4 recipes all together.
Well, I remember there was like a few times when we'd take turns buying it when I'd cook at your place.
Yeah.
And we'd each make like things that use red wine or something. Because yeah, you just gotta use it.
Yeah. And then I'm always scheming on how to do my personal projects, but oh man, if there ain't no time for that.
Yep.
Yeah, sometime I'll have to like explain. Philip's already heard it like 16 times. Although I've articulated it. I just sat down and like wrote it down the other day, so I articulated it pretty well. This like kind of weird thing I'm trying to get at. Mm-hmm. But again, Philip's had to listen to it a lot. So I'll explain to you sometime.
Okay, we'll sidebar on that one. Yeah.
So what are you up to?
Well, I'm pretty much done with everything that needs to happen for Deeply Dave.
The release of an actual book, right?
Yep. Yeah, so it was my webcomic, got picked up to be published as a book.
Nice.
It's coming out June 2025.
How thick is it as a book?
It's 240 pages.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So it's substantial.
Did you add something to the story?
No. But I do a lot. Most of the most panels I'll put on a page usually is 4, and every now and then I have 6 panel pages, but usually it's 4, and I do have a lot of spreads.
Okay.
Or like pages with just one panel. So I was pretty liberal with how I used the page count because I like that in a book. I like when you can really fly through it. Instead of the pages being overly dense.
Yeah.
So that's pretty well done. And then one thing that's cool about it, I might have told you, Casey, is so the book it's about this deep sea diver plunging down into the ocean, and on the webcomic version, the vertical scroll is an important part of it. Yeah. As you're following him down. And so for the book version, they're putting the binding on the top instead of on the side.
Oh.
So it's actually formatted to be
way cool.
Vertical.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah, I was really happy. Like, the art director suggested it, and I was surprised that he did, because I would think that publishers would be kind of adverse to messing with the format, especially on a debut book. But I guess it doesn't really cost more to them, because they have books that are like that, but where it's a long book, but usually it's turned sideways, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just, we're just printing it rotated.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So it's not actually any more expensive for them, and it's a way for it to stand out and just be different. So I'm excited about that. Hopefully it's not annoying to have to read. But even if it is, like, I think the benefit of it being cool and different kind of outweighs that.
Yeah.
So,
recently went to a little book signing when Johanna she did her comic.
And it's out.
Yeah,
right?
And it's out.
Okay, cool. I need to look it up.
I was gonna bring it.
Yeah.
And then I forgot.
Got
but
distracted by all the cheese.
I did actually. I was juggling this. I actually I set the ginger ale down for a second, and then I knocked it over on the pavement, and I was like, this thing is like a grenade. Like a giant ginger ale grenade. Anyway, but so we were talking with people after, right? And everyone was, the topic was obviously comics and printing graphic novels, and everyone was talking about how publishers are so sinister, and they give you this big upfront that is actually not really enough, and then that's kind of it. And so there was a lot of bad talking the practice of publishing.
Yeah.
I don't know, what's your experience been?
So far it's been good. I could understand that perspective, though, and I think, I don't know, it depends, I guess, on what you're trying to get out of it, and how you see your relationship with the publisher, because, yeah, I do think most of the time, especially when you're first starting out, it's not going to be like a job. Like, you're probably not going to get paid enough to do it full time unless you have a hit, is kind of is kind of how I see it. But but the publisher is taking the risk, right? In any industry, I think whoever is taking the financial risk is the one who will also get the greater reward.
Yeah.
And that's just how it has to be set up. And otherwise, you just self-publish, which there's plenty of options for self-publishing these days. Like, that's very accessible now. But the publishers have such a greater reach. You know, and my experience was good. I think, I had a good editor. It was a fairly large publisher. I was really lucky to get with it. And so my advance was substantial. Like, it was, like, I won't say numbers on the air here, but like it was a good chunk of my income
less
last
like people
year.
Come and find you.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, tell me what. Yeah. Tell me how much you made. I really want to know. Yeah. But yeah, it was a good chunk, especially because I had already finished it. Like, I had already finished the comic, so yeah. And like, I spent almost 2 months probably of work, like redrawing stuff, both because I wanted it to be better before it was permanent.
Yeah.
And also because just formatting it for print, because I had designed it
for web.
Purely for web. Like, I had very intentionally been like I didn't want it to be annoying to read on the computer. Like, so many web comics, you can tell they really just care about print, and the web part is an afterthought, but then most people are seeing it on the web. So I tried to do the opposite, and then it kind of burned me when it was time to turn it into a book, and I had these like super long skinny panels.
Yeah. And
it's like, well, I just got to redraw that. Like, there's no way to make that look good on a little almost square page. So I did have to spend some time redoing it, but the bulk of the work was already done. And so that made
probably a better way to have it go. Honestly,
I think so.
If you're gonna do like the initial like building up kind of the comics presence, online's a place to do it, and orienting it for that makes sense. And if you publish it later, it's a lot of work to reformat it, but it's better than the other way around.
Right, because
so it's like a comfortable and like enjoyable experience on the internet or on your phone or whatever, however you design it. Yes.
Right. Yeah, because you for sure are going to be able to make a webcomic. Whether or not you're going to get a publisher is kind of a long shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, that said, for the next comic I'm working on right now, I did try to find like a default panel size that looked good on both. Yeah. So that most of the time I won't have to redraw stuff. And then every now and then for like a splash page or something, like I'll have to redo that. But it won't be quite as much work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then another nice thing about having it all done was the editorial process, I think, was less rough because like it was already finished, so the editor could see like what I was going for. And so there was less back and forth with him.
Yeah. It's just there.
Yeah, like it's already done. And so he had a bunch of notes for sure. And there were some things where like there was a big conversation before we got to like a compromise or like an agreement on it, but I didn't have to make any changes that I didn't like in the end. There were some changes where I'm like, I don't think it really matters, but sure, I'll change it. But there was nothing that I hated. And I think, because I think the editors don't want you to hate your book, like, because they're going to need you to help promote it, and they want a relationship with you. So, yeah. So yeah, I don't think it was bad, but yeah, I could definitely see like, and if you had a bad editor, or if you had an editor who was overbearing, like it could be a bad experience for sure, because it is a weird thing where it's like they're not really your boss because you own the copyright of the book, but they could choose not to publish it, even after they've like given you the advance and signed the contract. If they decide that what you've given isn't acceptable, so it's like a weird relationship in that sense, because I'm used to doing client work where the client's word is law, and then my personal work where no one tells me what to do.
This is like a weird in between.
And that took some adjustment for sure.
Yeah. Because, like, the consequences of them not publishing you aren't, like, as immediate. Because potentially, like, another publisher might be like, why did the other publisher drop you?
Yeah.
Or it's like they did this and then they didn't go through, and they're going to be like,
Yeah, it wouldn't be fun to pull
that.
out of a contract and try to find another one. Yeah, that would.
It's like you potentially could, but it'd be awkward.
Yeah, it'd be tough. So, yeah, it was interesting. It was a big learning experience for sure.
It's interesting to hear that point of view. I mean, it's good because all that stuff totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Just because when I was there talking to people, everyone was just like, big publishing is the worst.
Yeah.
And when you hear that, you're like, oh, yeah, must be. But, like, when you say, all that stuff you said makes sense, where it's like, oh, yeah, they are, like, shouldering all of the production.
Right.
And the distribution and all of the financial costs sunk into that.
Yeah.
They're offering you services with, like, the editor and stuff.
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
Kind of know what's you need to do to, like, kind of optimize it for the printing process. And
yeah, totally. Yeah. Even if they gave you no money as an advance, they're still pouring thousands of dollars into it.
It's like you're getting, like, paid to get help.
Right.
So
even
if you're not getting paid, like, a ton, it's still, like, pretty good. Unless they are, like, really screwing you over in some way, but...
Right, like, if you have a bad contract, like, if there was something predatory in the wording where they're taking away more rights than they should, then, that could be bad. And I think that kind of stuff has happened and does happen.
Do you want some more ice?
Yes. Well, I want some more of that.
I was offering ice as a bonus.
But yeah, it's tough. Like, it's not, because they're taking the risk. It takes so long though to make a book, right? Like, it takes a very long time. And from what I understand, most books do not make money. Most books lose money for the publisher. I think that's true of most media, right? Maybe not movies, because that's a much bigger risk. So they probably mitigate their risks a little better.
I bet a lot of them don't.
Or at least they just break even, right, and aren't necessarily making a profit. And there's plenty of flops with movies for sure. I don't know about most though. Anyway, all that to say, it's a tricky thing to find, like, a good balance of how you can make it sustainable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's easy. It's called have a hit.
Yeah.
Just keep making stuff until people like what you make.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. And I do think that's important as, like, an artist, is to find some kind of sustainable rhythm. Because before I made Deeply Dave, I really, really, really wanted to find someone who would pay me to make it before I made it. Mm-hmm. Like, I spent time trying to find an agent and trying to find a publisher and got nothing. Like, it was just crickets with my pitch. And in retrospect, like, the pitch wasn't very good.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was the best I could do. And so I was trying. And then, like, I had to find a balance where I could make enough money with client work and have enough time for my family and be chipping away at this thing where it was, like, satisfying to me. Mm-hmm. And finally I got to a point where I was like, well, even if I don't get picked up by a publisher, like, this is now sustainable. Like, I feel satisfied with what I'm doing. Like, I'm finishing stuff and I like it. And I finished Deeply Dave and sent it out again. And again, didn't get any response for a while. And I was like, well, guess I'm going to start over. And it was kind of a bummer, but I was like, I can do that. Like, I can.
Yeah. You got something out of it.
I did, yeah. It was still satisfying to finish it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then luckily I sent it to a few more people and it turned into a book deal down the road. But it very well could have not. Like, it wasn't like I got inundated with offers or anything. I got a couple offers. Yeah. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Should have sent you a fake offer just to make you feel better.
Oh. That reminds me, I need to call. The farmer's market's been really slow the past few weeks. But a couple weeks ago, some woman that has an art gallery in Payson talked to me, and I forgot she'd sent me a message on Instagram. I need to call her because she potentially wants something of mine in her gallery.
That's cool. Maybe she's listening right now. Do we have anyone? Is it 0? Is it still flatlined?
This is actually...
But I had forgot because it was one of those things where I got the message on Instagram, but since I wasn't following her...
Yeah.
Because I didn't know...
Yeah. So it was in your, reject
so,
messages.
I, saw it and I was like, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
And then I forgot again after I looked at it.
Uh-huh.
I need to contact her. Because I'm going to be gone soon.
Yeah. Going back to Michigan,
so I might have to potentially drive down to Payson Monday or something.
Yeah, what you're doing is kind of funny because I feel like the farmers market's fun, but it's probably the worst possible way to sell art.
Yeah. But it's
fun.
fine. A lot of...
Why is it the worst possible way?
I guess it's not the worst possible way.
The worst possible way is to not...
Yeah, the worst way
do
is,
anything.
I don't know, to hide in a dumpster or something.
I'm
one step away from that. So.
Be on a street corner, I don't know. Maybe that's not the worst either. Anyway.
It's just a lot of people and probably very, very few of them who are looking for that.
Yeah. It's unpredictable.
Yeah.
But, technically I've made more than I spent on it as far as the fees go.
Yeah.
But for having the studio space, no.
Right.
But
but as far as
the space is just really nice to have, so I don't care that it costs me money because it's also very cheap. So
yeah,
whatever. So, but
when are you gonna get? You can get that next door office, Casey. So you're not working at home
see
anymore.
If there's an opening.
I keep asking all the dentists.
Yeah, you have a back room. That's what I did. I asked the dentist if he had an open back room. And
just
he
if
did.
they had an extra operating room.
Yeah, I literally because it was a guy in my ward who I knew he had 2 locations for his endodontist practice, and they had just opened up a new location, and I was like, I bet they have some extra space if they just opened up a new location. And they just had an empty office in the back that they weren't using. It was full of dental equipment, so I had to go help clean it out. But
so what's he called again?
An endodontist.
I've never heard this word.
I guess you haven't needed a especially bad root canal before. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Sorry.
No.
Never heard the word endodontist. So, it's just learning a new word today.
Yeah. That's always good. Yeah. If you know the word endodontist, you probably have had a bad time. At least for a couple hours.
It's a good thing that you don't know the word.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, and the dentists there, all they do is root canals all day. They just do that one procedure over and over again.
I wonder how that would be.
Yeah, I think not great, honestly. I think it sounds like a pretty rough job, but they make bank.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that would be nice is because you'd be doing only one type of thing.
So you can kind of get into a rhythm, maybe. Yeah.
You just get used to it, and you're just like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, and then you only work 3 days a week.
Yes, that is true. That is true. Yeah. And the guy who's in charge of it, he has multiple other dentists working for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it is lucrative.
Also, it's how many people do you actually work on regularly?
Well, I think it is like a new patient every time, if that's what you mean.
Yeah.
You're not getting a ton of repeat customers.
No,
yeah.
But also it's how many people need root canals?
So that's interesting.
Is it a ton?
Well, I do think because I heard
I would imagine it'd be a steady stream, but I can't imagine it's shoot, we've got an emergency surge of root canal patients.
Yeah. No, I think you do have to be aware of the market. The guy who runs the practice, he was saying you only need so many endodontists per county.
Yeah.
And so you have to be like when you open one, you have to do some research of how far away you are from the nearest endodontist and like what the age demographics. I mean, Florida, it's a very old population, so I think that helps them. Yeah.
Not like dentists where there can be an unlimited amount of dentists.
Yeah, Provo has like
square foot.
So many dentists.
Like 10% of the population of Provo is dentists.
So my wife's sister and her
just
family
do wisdom teeth removal.
Because it's the youngest population in the country. So yeah,
my wife's sister and her husband just moved to Eagle Mountain, Utah, which is like nothing but new houses.
Yeah,
it's like
there's like not even like businesses. It's like just a housing development.
Yeah, so there are now they've granted them like a few like little strip mall areas, and the strip mall areas go like this: Arby's, dentist; Taco Bell, dentist; McDonald's, dentist; random like taco place, and then like repeat.
Yeah.
But I was like, how many dentists do we need?
Yeah.
Again, there's not like a limit. You can have infinite dentists.
Everyone just has a personal dentist.
Yeah.
Like. After each meal, they run over and brush your teeth.
Yeah, that's what they do at the end of the day. They don't even brush their own teeth. They just go get like a teeth cleaning from like the local dentist.
Yeah. Or they do house calls. They're just driving around all evening, going and brushing all their.
When you wake up
teeth.
in the morning, you just on your way to work, you stop in, get a tooth cleaning.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's luxurious. It's nice.
Yeah. Maybe those houses on Eagle Mountain, they all just come with a dentist.
Maybe every single person in Eagle Mountain is a dentist.
That's the snake eating its own tail at a certain point.
And they just service other dentists.
Yeah, right.
It's just a very smiley community.
Yeah. But they're all starving to death. That's the only thing they can barter with each other is dental work. So. It's like, well, kids' toothpaste doesn't have that much fluoride in it, so you can eat it. It tastes good. You get like a Buzz Lightyear one. Yeah. So yeah, so Deeply Dave, that'll be coming out in book form next summer, and then I'm in the process of trying to get a book deal for Jake Spooky.
Nice.
Yeah, because I just finished what would be like 80 pages of Jake Spooky material. Okay. I've been doing live readings of that. I did the one at Valor. I just did one at a library in my hometown.
Cool.
Yeah, which is fun. I really like experimenting with that format. And then once I had finished that chunk, I started shopping that around. The publisher of Deeply Dave decided they didn't want it, which was a bit of a blow. But I've gotten interest from a couple other editors, and looks like something's gonna happen here in the next couple weeks with that. So
nice.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And with the Deeply Dave publisher, it was like they were very complimentary of it, but they felt like it was a slightly older age demographic than what they're doing and what Deeply Dave was. So
they were like, it's too punk.
Too punk. Yep. Ghosts are scary. They scare the kids.
I always think about, because all the stuff that I'd like is a little bit spooky, and I always think about how you're like, I like ghosts that are just ghosts. Like it's not like a dead person.
Right.
It's just like a ghost that's a ghost.
Like
all of like the old like cartoon Hanna-Barbera characters that are ghosts. It's like, this isn't like some dead guy, it's just a ghost.
Yeah, is Casper a dead kid? Did they explore that in like the Casper movie?
They did.
Yeah.
I remember.
But in the cartoon, did they ever explain it?
No, probably not.
Probably not. Yeah.
He's just a ghost.
Yeah. Yeah, and no, I do like that. I kind of like both. Like for Jake Spooky, I haven't committed yet to which he is, if he's just a ghost or if he is a dead person. Yeah.
Well, I think what's going to happen is you'll hit that point where it'll get big and you'll do it for 20 years and you'll have to like explain every inch of the lore.
Yeah.
For the fans. And so then you'll have to explain his backstory in depth.
Yeah.
And he'll definitely have to be a dead guy probably.
And same
or
with
you just say, oh, he's a ghost.
Right, like maybe he has a ghost mom and a ghost dad.
Yeah.
And he was born a ghost.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun. That's kind of fun. Like what does it look like when a ghost is born? You know. Yeah. Or maybe they're not born. Maybe they come to be in some other way.
He just was.
Like well, and there's mythology like that. Like even in Ghostbusters, like Slimer, he's not a dead person, right?
He's just I don't think so.
I don't know.
Or like in Harry Potter, Peeves the poltergeist. I think there's a line somewhere in one of the books where it's like, well, he's not really a ghost. Like they're implying that he's some other creature.
He's just a ghost guy.
Yeah. Yeah, ghost guy. Yeah.
However that works. The mystery makes it interesting. You don't have to explain it.
Yeah, it's a fine line, right?
Yeah. If you start trying to explain it, it becomes less interesting.
Yeah, I think the only way to make it still interesting is if like the answers lead to more questions and it like makes it feel bigger instead of smaller, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there are some shows or movies that, like Adventure Time, I kind of liked when they start going really deep into that.
Oh.
But you don't, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. I was like, that's what I was thinking. It's how I don't like. But then you were like, I like the other thing.
I like seasons like 5 through 7 a lot.
But so that's still, I think the creator left in season 5, but I feel like that's still like on track with what they were doing.
It is pretty different, but it's not. It went even further in the subsequent seasons.
But it's not until like later when it's just like a different show and all they do is like talk like Adventure Time.
Yeah, I think any show, especially when you get through a couple rounds of creators, it could become a parody of itself, right? It starts to
But
they should have stopped it at some point.
Yeah.
They can't.
Yeah, and they did technically stop it, but then it's reboots and spin-offs, and it'll go forever because
it enters like content hell.
Yeah.
Like it enters
where it can never rest.
Well, it enters like
established. Yeah, it's purgatory. Yeah,
purgatory is called established IP.
Yeah,
where it's like this can't die no matter what. Like it wants to die.
It should have died.
But somebody's like, like if we make another thing with this, it'll still make money. Because everyone still recognizes this.
Yeah.
An established IP can never rest. It's the real ghost. Whoa.
Yeah. So then, like, I wonder how, as a creator, how you navigate that though. Because if someone's like, "Hey, here's $5 million to do another season or to do a sequel or whatever," like, do you take it or not? You know, like if you've starved for years.
90% of us take it, and then Bill Watterson doesn't.
Right. Bill Water, I mean, he left so many millions of dollars on the table that it's kind of hard to even wrap your head around it.
But he was probably, I mean, I don't know the situation, but he was probably already, like, very wealthy, right? So he was just one of those people who's like, was like, I probably have what I need. Again, I have no idea, but you just...
I think by now he definitely is with the books.
He had to have been then, too, because he was probably selling so many books.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know what it was like. I think you're probably right though. I think and he probably, I think I even read an interview where he said this, that he thought it was going to dry up after a few years, but it didn't. Like if anything, he's probably selling more books than at the time. Like it's continued to endure, which a lot of comic strips haven't. There's plenty of comic strips that are
probably just
that are dead,
or most of them, or like all
they're
of
just
them.
forgotten. Yeah, but like it used to be. It's crazy. Like in the 20s. Like a newspaper cartoonist could be like a superstar, like a multi-millionaire, like playboy kind of guy.
Too bad. That's long ways.
Long gone. Yeah, yeah, dead and buried. Yeah.
Are
And
there even like, are there any comic book anythings that would be like superstars? Because I think there's a lot of popularity around comics still.
Yeah, and there are people who are wealthy from it.
But
not like a known person who like walks into the restaurant and turns heads, right? Like no one knows what a cartoonist looks like, even if you know.
Even if you
stuff.
like read their comics, you probably don't know what they look like. So if you saw them, you'd be like, oh.
Yeah.
You don't know what they sound like. You don't know what they look like.
Right. And I don't know. Maybe.
And some people might not even know the name of.
Yeah.
Them.
Yeah.
Even though the name's like on the thing, they might just be like, "Oh, I never bothered to look at that."
Yeah, like, or even
it's like I just really like Garfield.
Yeah, but like nobody. Yeah, like I don't know
one.
what Jim Davis looks like. I wouldn't be able to pull him out of a room.
So
like,
yeah.
I know what he looks like, and here's the secret: is they all look really boring.
Yeah, right.
Anytime you're like, oh, here's a picture of Charles Schultz, and you're like, a regular guy.
Right. Yeah, with like a puffy sweater.
Yeah.
And
like a nice smile.
Yeah.
That's kind of how they.
He's very sad inside, but you can't. You don't know that until you've read 20 years worth of comics. He made 50 years worth, but you have to read 20 years worth to know the depths of the sadness. Yeah.
Yeah, we. When we talked about comics like a couple months ago, I was telling Mike this. I'd forgotten that it was such a big part of my life at one point. Like, I just have this like huge store of newspaper comic, knowledge and trivia and all the ones I read, and I'd almost just totally forgotten we were talking about it. I was like, I know everything about all of these.
Yeah, right. Where it's like Beetle Bailey.
Yeah,
I know a lot about that. Like, for better or for worse. Like Foxtrot. Like, I read a lot of those. Did you read a lot of comic strips, Philip?
Decent amount, just like in like the Sunday paper.
Yeah, right.
But I was never like super into them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I would always read them.
Oh yeah.
And ones I was like didn't really care about, like Kathy.
Right. Yeah. Well, because
to this day, like so one of my coworkers will make the ack.
Oh,
nice. At each other.
Yeah. At the kolache place.
Yeah.
You got someone going ack.
Yep.
That's great. You guys should should give out newspaper comic strips at the kolache place. That seems like something that would go with breakfast.
And, like greeting cards, kind of like this.
Oh, cool.
Can you see that?
Yeah. The pair.
So I sell those.
Yeah, cool. That's awesome.
People buy them every once in a while.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, it's a good idea.
It's worked out with the buttons and those, where I think for the amount of work I've put into them, it's probably the equivalent of like I've made like $40 an hour.
Yeah.
Over the course of like 6 months.
So you've made
I mean, my hourly rate on personal art is so low.
Because it's one of the things where it's like because I initially that pair.
Yeah.
I initially made it as. I have this one I use as a bookmark. But we have these napkin holders at the kolache shop. And they just had they have a slot you can put like an ad in or something.
Cool.
And so I just made these to slot in there.
Yeah.
And so then I just kept using the plates and I made those cards.
Yeah.
So I already had the stuff made for it. So it's just a matter of just rolling the ink and pressing it.
That's cool.
So I could make like a bunch of them in like an hour, and I was like, see how these go. I just experimented with them with like different colors and gradients and stuff, just kind of for fun.
Yeah.
And so it's I sell 1 or 2 a month, but they don't go bad. It's not a perishable item, so even if it took me a year to sell all of them, sell all 20 of them that I made or something, it's it's still pretty good money for the amount of effort I put into it initially, so whatever.
Totally, yeah.
It's a trickle, But
Do you split that money with the store?
no.
Okay, nice. That's
I
great.
don't have to. I work there.
Yeah.
So I get paid by them and that.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't care. I didn't even have to ask for permission. I just like put it up.
Uh-huh.
And, like the owners come in like they're like, "Wow, these are pretty cool."
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to. That's another thing. I need to talk to one of the owners because they want a painting of a pair for the new shop they're opening.
Uh-huh.
I have no idea what exactly they want specifically because they made it sound like they just wanted a bigger print of that. The pair with the on the red fabric, that little painting because I sell that there too, like little prints of it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to make like a blown up print of it. It'd probably look okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd prefer to do a whole new one that's specifically painted larger.
Yeah, with more like texture in it, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I have some bigger prints of the tulips, and they look okay.
Mm-hmm.
They actually look much better than I thought they would, but still, especially when it's something like asked to make for like a. Like I'd almost prefer just like have like the original there.
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But
No,
I don't know. I'll have to ask. See what. Part of it a little bit depends on how much they'd be willing to pay me for it.
Uh-huh.
But part of me also just kind of wants to do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because also I'll make signs for like special flavors.
Uh-huh.
And I don't charge any money for that.
Yeah.
They offered to pay me, but they're like, oh, just record the amount of hours you put in.
Uh-huh.
And I decided not to because I was worried if I told them how long some of them took me that they'd be like, yeah, we're not paying you that much.
Yeah, right.
We're not going to pay you for 3 hours of work for this one sign for this thing.
Sure.
And so I was like, yeah, but I like doing it. So I'm just going to...
Yeah.
I'm just going to do it. I like doing it. So...
I mean, that...
Now I have like... We just have like a collection of like 60 or something of these like little illustrations.
Yeah.
And they're just fun little like graphic design things. Just little ink and marker drawings.
I mean, I think that's so cool that you're making like physical art and you get to like interact with people through it.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're getting immediate feedback from people as you put it out into the world. And that's, I don't know, that's very cool. Like, I think that fits into what we were talking about earlier about having like a sustainable art practice, like something that you could do over a long period of time, and it, I don't know, it's rewarding.
Yeah. It's much more rewarding in like a kind of like personal way rather than...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
In a lot of ways, a lot of what I've been doing, it's like not making me a whole lot of money.
Sure. Yeah.
But that's kind of not the point.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind
Maybe at some point it will, but I don't think it's useful to approach it in kind of that way.
Mm-hmm.
As specifically like a business sense. Like that's like secondary. Otherwise, like I would be in kind of a situation you were where you're like, oh, I'm gonna find a publisher, or I'm gonna find something to do this for.
Yeah.
Before I start, and it's more like I just need to just do stuff and just make it, and like have somewhere to put it. It's like, so I basically have like a constant like little gallery presence in the kolache shop.
Yeah, man.
Where I have like little bits of art here and there. Like I have like little pins and cards and prints and signs and it's kind of cool because at the farmers market there's been like people come over and they're like seeing and they're like, wait, I've seen this over at the shop. And they're like, oh yeah, I work there, and I just display stuff there for fun, and people can buy it and like, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's just like little things like that is like kind of very satisfying little thing.
Well, and it's like I was saying, the farmer's market might not be like the greatest from a money-making standpoint, maybe. But you get all of that like interpersonal, you just get all of that contact with people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd love to do like some comic zines and have them like sell them locally somewhere.
Yeah,
Like, that just
cool.
seems like it'd just be fun.
I think it'd be fun. I don't, because that's something I've thought about in a way, but kind of distantly in the sense that I'd probably never do it. Because I don't know how to go about making a comic because I've never really done it. But with like the printing stuff, it'd be kind of cool to hand carve a thing and make like a little zine with it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Totally. But also, I'm like, that'd be so much work for something that I'm like just like marginally interested in doing at the moment.
Yeah, but you could even do like a collection of prints, like something that has a thematic through line, even if it's not like a big story.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
We got somebody on the chat saying cheese.
Oh, it's
Eliza. A person.
Finally,
hey,
Eliza, where have you been?
We're waiting for an answer.
We've just been sitting here waiting for
alone.
somebody.
This is
silently.
actually, I think I always joke about
This is
how
like
we're
the
a
most
podcast,
empty.
that has 0 people, but secretly we always have like Eliza and or Piper, or at least like 1 or 2 people. So now it was like,
I know.
maybe it's
like,
Mike Rover's fault.
Yeah, sorry. They heard I was coming on. And
And I thought we brought him on to boost the numbers.
Yeah.
We're like, this guy's big. He's like a celebrity from the funny pages.
Yep. From the funny books.
From the funny books.
Yeah, man. No, it's cool doing stuff in person like you're talking about, because like on the internet, so often it feels like I'm just sending stuff off into the void.
Yeah.
And like I have no idea if anyone's even seeing it. And I think about how I consume entertainment, and I will very rarely like make a comment or something, right?
Yeah. Do anything to engage. It's like you read it and you're like, wow, that was good.
Yeah, even
then you just,
stuff
like,
that
move
I
on.
love,
Yeah.
I don't engage with yet.
Yeah.
And so I think you have to have a pretty big audience before you're like consistently getting feedback.
And it's going to be like 0.5% of like the
Yes.
people reading it.
Right.
And even
doing
then,
anything.
it's like weird internet. Like if it's just on the internet, like if you're like some big person and you're engaging with followers on Twitter or whatever, I don't know. Right? It's like a weird internet exchange
Yeah.
where you're like the ghosts of 2 people. Ghosts again.
Yeah.
But
You're just like
Philip
a
and I
ghost
talked
guy.
about this. How you're like the weird like ghosts of 2 people talking to each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting way to put it, where it's like it's not really you.
Yeah.
It's your internet persona.
It's like this like little image of me.
Yeah, like it's your
And this
little
image of
like
you.
your little like Wii Sports avatars
Yeah.
are
You're
like
me.
talking to each other.
And
Yeah.
we're like watching
yeah.
them talk and we're satisfied
Uh-huh.
from a distance.
But just like vaguely.
Yeah, you're not deeply satisfied.
Yeah.
Because no one like hugged you. Like there was no.
It's like you're
hugged.
like
Yeah.
it's like you're like kind of intellectually aware of that you interacted with somebody, but like on a like, visceral level, your soul is like empty.
Well,
Yeah.
you get,
Like you didn't have like actually like a connection with somebody.
well, you're
Right.
It's like a weird like because it's going through so many filters
Yeah.
before, like when you send it to them and when they send back, and you're actually like several steps removed in an actual like way from them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you like think about it, you're like, oh my gosh, this is like I'm missing so much here. Even though it's like yes, we communicated, but
Yeah.
minimally,
Right.
really.
Right. Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Weird to think about.
And I'm not putting myself on social media anymore, and so it's even less, right? Because the only responses I get is if someone takes the time to email me.
Yeah.
And you think about how many times you email a stranger for just to tell them you like their thing, like it's
Even less
never
than a
right.
comment.
Yeah.
You need to like take it a step further. It's like you only take in mail in. stuff in the mail.
I have thought about that. Like I do think that would be fun. Like if somebody, an artist gets to like a celebrity status where they're getting a lot, it's like a huge influx. It's like just mail. Like even for job offers, you have to send me it in the mail.
Yeah.
Like to get it. That'd be kind of funny.
But then eventually your comic is only released through mail.
Right. Yeah.
It's like it stops. It's just like not even like an email newsletter. It's not, you get like close the website. It's like this is only if you sign up for a subscription, and I'll mail you the comic.
Yep.
On paper.
Yep. Exactly. Yes.
The sole existence of your comic is that.
Yep. And then it gets even better where you have to like come to my house, and I'll give it to you. Like you have to knock on the door, and I'll
for them.
Yeah. I just draw one.
Yeah, you're like the interpersonal connection is very important to me. Like I'll meet you at a cafe.
Yeah, and I'll give you my graphic novel, and it costs $1 million.
You gotta wait for me to draw it though.
Right.
It's like in there in the cafe, it's like drawing it by hand.
Yeah, like
while
did
they
you
wait.
guys ever see?
It's all on the napkins at the cafe.
Yeah, like Hero Dreams of Sushi. Did you ever see that documentary?
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta go to Japan and pay an exorbitant amount of money, and you reserve your table like a year in advance, and then you get the sushi, and while he watches you while you eat it, and so people eat it in like 15 minutes because they're like stressed out that he's standing there watching them. Yeah, that's funny.
Quick tangent, quick aside. Did you know that? What was the little me thing they made? The little me-verse, little me.
The
Miitomo?
metaverse.
Miitomo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they had to close that because Philip was too good at it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
I was killing it on there.
That
was the best social media thing ever.
It was like
the only one I ever liked.
It was like social media. Imagine.
Like one of those ones that pops up for a few months and everyone's like, "We're quitting
It was
Instagram.
around-
We're going to this now."
No.
Oh,
It was
okay.
just Nintendo just did it as like a little promotional
Nintendo.
thing, and it was you'd make like a me.
Uh-huh.
It was just an app, and you just had like your little like bedroom or whatever, and it's kind of like The Sims, and like your friends could like come in and like check out your place, and you could have you like. While you weren't using it, like your me would like go like visit your friends' me's.
Yeah.
And
have a better time than you're
yeah,
having.
and you
Yeah.
and you take the people that you're friends with, and you could make like these like collage images that had like a pseudo Photoshop in there, and you could like make images and stuff. I can't remember what else it was. That was the main thing I'd do, is I'd make like.
It was like if Animal Crossing was a social media.
Kinda, yeah. But. Man, I'd like.
And they shut it down.
So many friends on there.
Yeah, Philip was like going to be elected president.
And then when I got
was this?
I think it was I think when was it the Switch came out? I think it was when the Switch came out.
Yeah.
It suggested friends from that, and I had just like this endless list of people I could add as friends on my Switch from that, because it was linked to my Nintendo account. And it's like, I don't even know who like any of these people are, but I just like make all these like crazy images and post them on there. And there are like people who had like Twitter accounts that would just like repost images from that, and I'd have some of those get like on there. So it's like getting traction. And it was just like a thing I was just doing like for fun.
Were you bummed when it got shut down?
Kinda, yeah. I mean, I had stopped kind of using it at that point, but
Okay, yeah.
But I quickly got on there and like downloaded all my images from it.
Yeah. You should do a gallery show of that stuff.
If I can find them, I think they're on my old phone that has like a busted up screen. So I should probably try and save them.
Yeah.
At least the ones I have on there. But that was too bad that they shut that down, because it was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
It was like really pointless, but it was fun.
Yeah.
It made like, because you could take the Miis that you're friends with and you could like put them in like poses and like change the expression on their face and like rotate them around.
Yeah.
And you make scenes with it. So I'd make scenes where it looks like they're like murdering each other and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, like not what you. It's like
not what it was designed for.
Not what they had in mind, probably.
Yeah.
Just like really, like messing around with like all the like the little decals you could like play around with.
Yeah.
Like making whole new like images out of those. But it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe you should join the metaverse. You should get a VR headset and go live in Mark Zuckerberg's like hellscape.
Yeah.
And he's
no. Oh man.
Yeah. That's funny.
I'll probably never do that.
Thanks for commenting, Eliza. Do you guys interact with your commenters, or do you just
a little bit? She came here and had a show once.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's what, when people comment, you should just be like, "Come on down, come drive over."
We have a very high rate of viewers of the show being guests on the show too later.
Yeah, that's what keeps them watching. Like, that's gonna be me. We just get a side conversation, like just talking to Eliza right on there, being like, "Hey, what do you?"
Sometimes we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get really.
Yeah, we'll get sidetracked sometimes.
Yeah.
No, yeah, we need to have Maddie come on for a Pokemon show though. That was a last episode.
Yeah.
That was basically a lot of what we talked about.
Just Pokemon in general.
We talked a lot about Pokemon, and then Casey was talking about Maddie's like Pokemon career, and then she came on to chat
after we had talked.
After we had done that, and then it started that whole conversation up again, and we're like, we should just have her come on.
Yeah.
And just do a whole thing about Pokemon. But it was a lot of it was just like Pokemon's too easy. It's too baby now.
It's a baby game for babies.
Oh, like and we're talking about the card game or the video games?
The video games.
The video games.
Okay. Yeah.
But the people who I don't know if these people really exist because who has this kind of time? But people make their own Pokemon games that are very hard.
Okay.
Again, that's where I always wonder if I'm in a simulation when somebody does something where they're like, oh, well, I made a to-scale model of the Starship Enterprise in Minecraft. And I'm like, you could have learned to, like, play the flute or something. like, who has the time?
Yeah, it's like Guitar Hero. Like, I was just wondering the other day, like, why did that fad kind of die? And it's like, well, I guess because you get to a certain skill level with it, and then you just feel bad because you could have learned the actual guitar in the time that you spent to get really good at Guitar Hero. So maybe it has maybe you lose players when they get to a certain level.
Yeah, but how many people stop playing Minecraft because they're like, wait, I could have built a house in the time it took me to build all of Mordor.
Yeah, but like Minecraft, there aren't equivalent skills. Whereas with Guitar Hero, it's like it's moving close. Your fingers, you're almost doing it. You're just not pushing hard enough on the strings.
Yeah, I don't know if people make these video games alone. I think a lot of them do, because a lot of them are just mods for...
Because you can just take,
mods for ROMs.
Rip, the assets out and, fairly... I mean, not easily, but reasonably easily build something.
Yeah, the stuff is already there.
Yeah, and, how Pokemon games work is so, well known that somebody that knows how to do that stuff could pretty easily reconstruct it. It'd still be a ton of work, but
yeah,
it's like reasonable to do it. It would just take you a long time.
Yeah, and who wants to learn the flute anyway?
Yeah.
It's like you could actually make like your own actual video game that's just yours.
Yeah.
Or you could just make a game that might get you sued by Nintendo.
Yeah, but but already has a built-in audience. Like,
Yeah.
already has people who would want to
also,
play it right away.
You're not gonna make any money on it.
Yeah.
So it's like, but again, it's like the sheer passion for it, where they're like, they have like a drive where they're like, I need to make a hard Pokemon game.
And I don't know. I
And
feel like
that's-
you could potentially make money on it, like with Patreon
I
and
think
stuff.
they
Like, I
do.
feel like people do
Probably.
figure out ways to do
Well,
it.
because there's a lot of those.
I still
things
feel like it's like
where you
getting
can
into like
donate.
dangerous territory. Where
Totally.
Nintendo's
Yeah,
like,
they could
hey.
give you a cease and desist.
yeah.
And so I don't really know, but I think because Pokemon isn't a Nintendo franchise, it's like they're their own thing that like is closely tied to Nintendo. They're pretty like forgiving, I think.
Could be.
Because, well, this is just me observing over the years, because
Yeah.
Melvin also watches a lot of Pokemon related, like, and people have made tons of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Like Pokemon games, different versions of Pokemon games. Kind of like, but yeah, it's kind of like what Star Wars used to be, where they're just like, sure, do whatever the heck you want.
Yeah.
Like, you want to make, like, Star Wars with
Legos.
yeah, with Legos in your basement?
Yeah.
Don't hurt us none.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't actually know. But Eliza, hey, I made some moonshine. It's some ginger beer.
Yeah, it almost exploded all over Philip's workshop.
Yeah, I tried. It was I was trying to sabotage Philip. Philip. But Eliza, do you remember drinking the really, really iffy ginger beer that we made?
Yeah, Casey mentioned
She
mentioned
might
you
have, like,
earlier.
lost-
He was
she might
like,
have, lost a week.
I was glad we didn't kill Eliza.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were. Your name was invoked earlier.
Yeah. Because. Yeah, I'm glad we didn't kill Eliza with our reckless fermentations.
Also, this brie is really good.
The brie's super good.
We've been
Yeah.
have not commented on the brie, but
Yeah,
it's so good.
it is good.
Super duper good. Yeah, this stuff's not super great, but it's my first try in a long time. It's okay. Like, it's, although when I'm having it without the ice, it's kind of just like medicine. Like, I've had a couple things and I'm like, not digging it as much, but it's kind of,
Warms up.
it's very mild. Yep.
Yeah.
In our nasty house, and that's the place where if you were to poison somebody with ginger beer, that's where you'd do it.
Yeah.
In, like, the world's grossest apartment. Did you ever see our apartment?
Yeah. I don't remember it being the world's grossest. There are a lot of gross apartments.
That's probably true.
Yeah. I don't know for sure that I ever went inside though. I borrowed your car once.
It was pretty grody. It's a grody.
Yeah.
It was a very grody apartment.
Yeah. Okay, you guys lived together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who else lived? Did Jacob live there at
Yeah,
one point?
for like,
He was there for like a semester or something.
we had a room that was like the defense against the dark arts room. Where
Oh, so like high turnover.
Yeah. Partially because it flooded constantly.
Okay. Yeah.
That
It
got,
flooded like once a semester.
yeah, and the people did not do anything about it.
Uh-huh.
The one that almost probably killed you, I don't know how long that fermented. This one, this only fermented for 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a room that, there was a high turnover rate. And Jacob left, dude, he lived like a Spartan in that room. Like, I don't think he had like a bare mattress.
Uh-huh.
He would just like come home from the animation lab, like lay on that for a few hours and like go back. Or he'd occasionally cook a Jacob meal.
Yeah, I've seen some Jacob meals
where he just cooked 5,000 eggs in like in like a in just like a gallon of oil. And you're like, what are you eating?
Egg.
Yeah, and he's like, my body will process this so fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the one that gets me, and it's funny to tell stories about Jacob when he isn't here, and also I wasn't there for this. I just heard about it, but I've corroborated the story that he worked at the CTL? Was that at the library? I don't know. The office.
Oh yeah.
And for lunch he would like microwave a like a bunch of hot dogs and then be walking around like with them in a coffee mug, and they would call it a mug of dogs. And then he would microwave a bunch of frozen vegetables, like classic blend vegetables. It'd be like mug of dogs and some classic blend. Eliza remembers a crock pot of just like potatoes and onions. Yeah, probably no spices in there. Just straight up,
Again, Spartan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and also Eliza. See, it's important to have Eliza because we need someone to bounce off of here.
Yeah, and she's probably trying to like do something while listening to this, right? Like podcast, you're not supposed to have to like constantly interact with it.
Yeah, we're like this is the world's most high maintenance podcast.
Yeah, I have to keep typing things.
Yeah. Like you need to sit down, focus.
Yeah. But it's not quite as good as having a conversation.
It's like a conversation you don't get to be like. It's a conversation where you're like 5 minutes behind.
Yeah.
Or like the lag here is like it's like a minute and a half or something.
Is it an intentional like YouTube lag, or is it?
No.
We don't control it.
Yeah, it's
okay.
just it has like it's probably 20 to 30 seconds or something.
Is it like it's like
bad.
the live TV lag where so that if somebody swears they can bleep it out in time? Like
I don't know what the. I know you can set your own like offset.
Yeah.
I don't think I have it set.
Okay.
So it's just whatever probably processing.
We'll have to test it. We'll be like 1, 2, 3, type.
Yeah, type.
See.
Time it.
Yeah. But I didn't give her any warning, so.
Yeah. But we're having cheeses from Utah. So fancy.
And they're all pretty good.
Yeah.
I actually really like all of these.
Yeah, they're great.
Especially this brie.
Oh, this brie's magical.
Where do you get them?
Utah.
Utah.
Told you.
I know that, but...
Okay, now we all paused to read Eliza's comment.
Yeah.
It just came in.
Yeah.
There's some radio silence for a second.
And we don't know, like, when she typed it, like, it could have
Yeah.
been days ago.
Alright, so you have to start each one of your comments with the time.
At the time.
You have to
Yeah,
get a timestamp on there. Anyway.
Yeah.
But where's the cheese store for
Well-
Utah cheeses? I know some of them are at the Mosita Market. They'll have some
Harmon's is actually...
there. Oh, yeah.
Well, so I went to Harmon's to try and look for this a while ago, and they only had one. And I was like, huh. And so I was actually called one of the cheese places, and I was like, where do I find your cheeses? And they're like, at Harmon's. And so I went back this last time, and they had all of these. And I was like, okay, Harmon's. Yeah. No, that's the timestamp. I was like, why is it 9:06?
Yeah, it's the same minute.
Whoa.
Oh, so yeah, that's what I was saying. I think it's like 20 to 30 seconds.
Okay. Alright, we gotta talk about deep stuff again.
Yeah. How do we get back into that?
I'm on deep stuff. Just kidding.
Wait, isn't the theme of this podcast that like you guys complain about like aesthetics?
It's a big part of it. But,
Okay, but that's not them.
Sometimes when you have a guest, we'll just talk about whatever they know about.
Or whatever's like pleasant to chat about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It varies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we kind of sort of roundaboutly touched upon one of the main themes, which is that if you do something, you gotta like not let how hard something is deter you, because convenience kills a lot of aesthetic stuff.
Yeah.
Like in every respect.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we didn't say it quite like that, but I was just kind of paraphrasing how we
general idea.
Yeah, is that convenience is actually secretly sort of the bad guy in a lot of ways. And what I mean is, like, I'm trying not to use the sheet example. I'm trying to think of any of the others.
It's a good one though.
It is a good one.
That was kind of the original discussion.
Wait, what's the sheet example?
So
is on the secret podcast. I think only is recorded on an SD card.
That only Eliza's heard because we mailed it to her.
But we've mentioned it before. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so it's like there used to be a thing where when you got married, somebody, like your great aunt or somebody, would make you sheets.
Okay.
And I only learned this from this guy that goes around and collects them, because he's like, these sheets, you don't understand, these are so nice. They're so comfy, and they're beautiful. And so there's like this guy who goes around and collects them because nobody else knows or cares about them.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of like that, how like, it's like, no, what happens now is your great aunt just gives you like a Target gift card, and you go to Target and you get some sheets there, and those sheets were made by somebody in like Taiwan.
Right.
And like, I don't know,
because a big part of it's like that gift of like the handmade sheets is more than just the sheets. It's like that person taking the time, like thinking about you to make this thing, to give it to you. Whereas now it's just like, oh, they have sheets on the registry, I'll just buy them on Amazon or Target, and then they kind of forget about it.
Yeah.
Like, all right, now you have to show up. It's like I could be on the other side of the country and just do that. And it's convenient, and yes, you're getting the sheets. So it's like, on paper it's the same. It's like, sheet says gift for wedding. But on like a fundamental level, it's actually completely different. Because like that like exchange of like caring about another person is like middlemaned by like Target, because it's more convenient.
And I guess it's like another of just saying like things that are a labor of love.
Yeah, like you have a lot less of that.
But like, it's like
why make that effort when it's like, oh, this thing already is there, or like there's an easier way to do that. Yeah. It's like very alluring.
Yeah, right.
And because when we started talking about this, like when we started having these podcasts, I was like, oh, well, money's the bad guy. And then it's kind of like, well, no, money's not actually the bad guy. Like, it can be sometimes. Like, some people get, can get, like, lost in money or do things only for money. But, like, it's not really the bad guy.
Yeah. That's just, like, a tool that exists kind of for good reasons.
Yeah. Because we were just talking about...
But I think I put it once as just, like, it can become kind of like the ultimate form of convenience. If you like look at it that way, it's like, oh, I can use money to get something done quick, or whatever. And it becomes a problem when I think you're seeing it as a way to basically get around like the sort of, I don't want to say like duty or something, but like opportunity to like do something for somebody, or like to like think about something that you're doing. Instead, you're just like, oh, I don't have to think or do anything. I just have to pay the money and then it's done.
So it's kind of like so many how many things get like removed from consideration about yourself and others because you just do things that are easy to do.
Yeah.
It's just it's a big part of things that we've talked about.
Uh-huh.
And it connects into other things where, like, we've read stuff from, like, Tolstoy and other things where they bring up not exactly that, but things where it's like with Tolstoy, he's like, it's not real art unless it's, like, sincere, basically. Like, it's not, you're not communicating, if you're not communicating, like, a sincerely felt feeling through, like, what you're creating, it's actually not art. It's an imitation of art.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like fraudulent.
Yeah.
In a way, and it's just like a similar thing where it's like, oh, you're just using something because it's something convenient that you already know, like stuff like that. So it's a little different, but it's similar in a way. That's more like oriented towards art specifically, but
yeah, and I think we'll be seeing more of that conversation, like broadly now that AI art is so prevalent, and it kind of throws that in stark relief. And I think now, like, or at least soon, the general populace is going to be thinking a lot about that and like what is art and what do we want to, like, why do we have it, and like, because I think of it as communication, like between people, and so I don't know. I think it, in a way, I almost think we might be seeing a resurgence eventually of like handmade analog things in response to it.
I think so, because we've touched on AI art a little bit. Air art.
See, AI would never make that mistake.
Yeah. But, I mean, personally, like, I see it as kind of mostly a tool to be used to in some way, but
totally.
The thing is, and I kind of feel this way about a lot of like computer tools now, just having thought a lot about this, is instead of like achieving like greater things with like the more powerful tools, all we do is like, really all it does is it makes it so that people who are less inclined to produce good things are making stuff that's just like it's like okay enough. And so like instead of AI art being like a tool for like people to create like wonderful, like masterful things, or in whatever way that would happen, I don't even know. I'm like very skeptical of its utility anyway, but what will really happen is a bunch of just like okay stuff that's really just essentially really complicated collages of existing things. Yeah. Will just exist. Because it's sort of the same way, like we've complained about buildings a lot. And I think about this all the time, is we have access to like better materials, better equipment. Yeah. We can design stuff quicker, faster, and cheaper than ever. And we're not producing like more beautiful buildings than ever. We're building boringer buildings than ever.
Right, because you can just crank them out. Well, yeah, and it's
but
funny.
The thing is, it's like we could like
we could make like the best cathedral ever.
Yeah. But we never will, because we're like, well, we can do boxes. Look, there's a box tool in CAD. Right. And it's like, and it just like stops there. Yeah. Whereas before, it's like when you had to draw it by hand, you're like, well, if I'm going to be spending like 3 months drawing this like courthouse, I'm going to make it really cool. I'm not just going to spend that time to make a box. Yeah. You know, it's like, I actually have to think about this. Whereas now it's like, oh, I can drag a box into doing that. I can get that done in the afternoon.
Right.
And so, I mean, obviously it takes more time than that, but...
Yeah, but generally, that's interesting.
And so you end up with...
a booming sound.
Oh, it might... Somebody's touching a microphone.
Oh, is it? I'm kicking the cord.
Oh, it probably is you touching the cord. Hold on.
I'm gonna kick this cord and see if it's a boom.
It probably...
I was like...
That's gonna be...
I was playing footsie with the cord without even thinking.
But what was I saying?
Let us know if it keeps going.
But that's like something I was thinking about, because you can use like these like great tools to do great things, and people do.
Mm-hmm.
But also so much of it's just uninspired.
Well, it's interesting, the unintended consequences of technology, where like with cars, like cars have way better brakes than they used to. So you'd think, oh, now people are much safer. But actually, well, no, people drive way faster because they know they can hit the brakes and stop on a dime, right?
Yeah.
So it didn't actually make driving safer to have better brakes.
Yeah. Also, cars aren't as cool looking anymore.
Yeah.
No, they're all like potatoes.
What about the Cybertruck? That's my 9-year-old son's favorite car. Whenever he sees a Tesla Cybertruck, he gets really excited.
I mean, it
It's
does.
fun.
It
I
does.
mean, it's like
It does kind of look
weird.
like something from Tron, like escaped into
Yeah.
our world.
That was the idea. That was very intentional. Like it was. I think it was meant to be a very polarizing thing, and a lot of people hate those things. But
I don't. I mean, I just don't care.
yeah, sure.
But
sure.
I mean, I don't think it's like visually appealing, really.
Sure. Yeah.
But I don't care. Like, I get the idea.
I like that it's different. Like what we're talking about.
I can appreciate that to some extent.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't like hate it. It's been just like kind of like, I don't think I'd get one.
No.
Because it also just seems not practical. But
No, not at all.
like, if I'm getting a truck, I want it
It's
to be
bulletproof,
very.
though, isn't it? Very practical.
It's stainless steel. Like,
Yeah. Think of all the times you've almost been shot on your way to Kolache in the morning.
All the time.
From rival
From
Kolache store.
my 5 blocks I have to
Yeah.
drive to get to work.
Yeah. Imagine if you started riding up to work in a Cybertruck. What would your coworkers say about that?
From your enemy,
They'd probably say
your
something.
enemy Kolacheros.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I don't know, it's like when I see someone just driving a Hummer around town. It's like, why do you have a Hummer for, like, going to soccer practice with your kids? Like, I don't know. Maybe there's a reason. Don't mean to judge anybody, but...
Well, it's been like... I mean, Hummers have been around for, like, decades, so that's been, like, a question for decades.
Yeah.
You
don't see them quite as much.
Well, it's funny you bring that up, because I feel like I hadn't seen a Hummer for a while, but I pulled up next to one the other day, and I was like, a Hummer... Still ginormous, still stupid looking.
Yeah. But still like, if you get hit with a mortar, probably pretty good option.
Yeah.
You know?
Still fueled by, like, baby owls.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, you see a lot of Cybertrucks around here.
Yeah.
I see them at Smith's all the time.
I've been surprised
I
at
see
how
them
many I've
driving
seen.
around.
Well, and I think when you see one, you notice it, right?
Yeah,
like
true.
if you
It is
see
very
a Honda,
noticeable.
like you
Whereas-
don't think about it.
Yeah, where everything else kind of blurs into, like, a muddle.
So it's like perfect as far as marketing goes. You feel like there's so many of them out there because they're so noticeable.
Yeah, we...
There was one boom, she said.
I wonder if we're hitting something.
That may have been me.
Oh,
Actually.
I mean, he's got a portable microphone, and it might be him, like...
It's plugged in. I
touching
set it on
it,
the table, so
setting
it'll
it
be a little
down.
bit less to maybe prevent that.
Yeah, we used to have a... Well, we still own it, but Madeline's parents are using... They were super nice, and they gave us their SUV, and they're using our little orange Bug.
Uh-huh.
And we used to would, like, park that in a parking lot, and you'd, like, look down the row, and it's just, like, gray and white cars as far as the eye can see, and we'd be like, hey, look at us with our... Like, we were,
Yeah.
We were super-duper little orange Bug snobs.
Yeah.
But now whenever I park this SUV, which is, like,
You come out of Smith's and you're like, where the...
Oh.
You're like, where did I park?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I just look down the road, and I'm like, this looks absolutely like every other car.
Yeah.
Especially because everyone has an SUV.
I even have trouble with mine, with it being white. And mine has, like, a deck on top.
Dude, I see your van all the time. And I'm like, Phil Van, it's not
I mean,
yours.
it's pretty easy
I don't
to
know how many-
find, but sometimes it will, like, take me a second where I'm like, I have to, like, scan, like, okay, there's my solar panels,
Like,
but...
3 of
No,
them.
yeah. See, I want my car to be anonymous. Like, I don't want like people put bumper stickers all over their car, like explaining their whole ideology and worldview, and I'm like, I don't need to broadcast all of that. Like, I don't.
What you should do
I
is
gotta-
find a car that's exact same, like, make and model as yours, and then just get the exact same bumper stickers they have and place them exactly the same.
Yeah.
And then
like, why can't I get into my car?
Yeah, and then you
you're stealing my car.
You just be like kind of aware of their schedule, and every once in a while you like park like in the same parking lot as them.
Oh man. Yeah, I saw someone do. He was doing something online where he found people on Facebook with the same name as him, and then he would take his profile picture in like the same pose and angle that they were doing, and then send them a message.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where were we? I don't even remember.
We were doing we were like shotgunning the main themes of what we've talked about.
Yeah.
And I just gave the example of all cars look the same now.
Yeah.
They used to actually make them look cool.
Yeah, I mean, some look cool. If you want to get like a Lamborghini, you want to get a Lotus.
But even then, it's like, can you like really tell that much of a difference between some of those from each other?
Yeah, some of them still look really cool, but even a lot of luxury cars, you look at them and you're like, huh.
Oh yeah,
it's
like
not that.
Like BMWs and like Mercedes and stuff. Now you're like,
yeah.
Oh well, that just looks like a Ford. You're like, there's
yeah.
You're like, the only thing you can distinguish it really is like, oh, the badge on the front. But you could like swap it out for like a Chevy badge, and you'd be like, oh yeah, that's a Chevy SUV.
Yeah.
In reality, it's like a Mercedes or something.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't really be able to tell. I'm sure there would be people that'd be like, I can tell by the body shape, I guess, but it's so, like, the design language is like identical.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, technically they're different, but not meaningfully different.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm in a minivan stage of life, so like I think a lot about the utility of my car designs. Yeah.
Do you know what that thing could use? Some ideological bumper stickers.
Yeah.
Needs a coexist sticker on there.
Yeah, there you go. That one's pretty safe. Probably no one's gonna key your car because of a Bono coexist sticker. I don't know a Vanderbilt car.
Oh yeah, I occasionally see them. Well, because Vanderbilt has like a car that's like a car, and it looks pretty interesting. And they also have like basically a go-kart. And randomly you'll see somebody like on the freeway in this go-kart, and you're like, "Are you gonna die?"
Yeah.
Because it's like a little. I mean, they're kind of cool looking. Yeah, it's just this company in China that makes.
Vanderhall. Is it Vanderhall?
That makes cars.
Yeah.
And they're just.
Is this the
go-kart? Yeah, I've seen people in the little like.
Oh.
It's the best way I can describe it.
I've seen these.
Yeah.
They're like the trike things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, randomly there'll be people like on the freeway in those.
Oh, sweet.
I guess it's no more.
There's like a tank you can get.
I guess it's no more dangerous than like driving your motorcycle.
Yeah.
Get one of these.
But.
Yeah. That's cool. With treads.
Yeah.
In case you need to like escape a snowy doom.
I know.
Yeah.
It looks like a Johnny Quest vehicle or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's it called there?
The Mammoth by Vanderbilt.
So our listeners at home can look it up.
Yeah. Look up the Mammoth by them.
Yeah. Who was it? There was someone in the animation program with the Jurassic Park car. Is a car and they painted it like it with the Jurassic Park logo and a bunch of colors, and it looked crazy.
I don't know. I see people do that occasionally. There's surprisingly a lot of like Jurassic Park Jeeps out in the world.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
I see those like occasionally.
It's like, well, I guess you don't want to ever sell that.
Or maybe they didn't do that. Maybe they got it from the auction when the park closed.
Yeah, right. But those parks keep reopening.
Yeah.
Right? They keep getting bigger and bigger.
With new, even bigger dinosaurs.
Did they
like the ophthalmologist or whatever.
Did they pause that franchise for a while? I haven't seen any Chris Pratt holding his hand out at dinosaurs in a while.
They probably have like the meeting where they're like, okay, we have to wait for like 3 years and then we can officially reboot it and everyone will be nostalgic for it.
Yeah, because now the nostalgia time cycle is way, way shorter.
Yeah. Everyone's like, oh yeah, I remember that great classic with Chris Pratt and the dinosaurs.
Yeah. I remember the blue dress meme. Is it blue or gold?
I have no idea.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I guess you can't get nostalgic for it if you forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it is just a farming vehicle.
I think it looks like it's for snow.
Is there not a car? Was I wrong?
I don't know. They had a lot of different kinds of
I thought that they
You can't Google car. Google would just be like, did you mean car?
I'm like, no, you understand. No, by now Google would know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, the Vander whatever car.
Uh-huh.
Not the like tricycle.
We bookmark that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want one at your house?
Yeah.
Delivered your house?
Yeah. Yeah, Google's little AI guy will help you out.
Yeah, I don't do anything with AI so far. But not even out of any sort of like...
That's just because you know how to do it for real.
Yeah,
It's like, why bother?
that's true.
I mean, I've messed around with it just for fun.
Yeah,
just
me
to
too.
check it out.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's exciting in a lot of ways, but...
Yeah,
Also, I'm still like, I don't get what the point of this is.
Yeah. Yeah, and if someone was like, hey, do you want to watch, like, there's a brand new comedy movie, and it was made by AI. Do you want to watch it? And I'd like, look at it. I'd, like, skim through it. But I wouldn't sit down and watch it. Like...
If it was really bad, I might.
Yeah.
If it was like...
But I'm like
still.
so uninterested in like what jokes a computer would like accidentally make funny. You know what I mean?
Like nothing would really be. I don't know. It would be weird to. It like you'd watch it and be like, oh, that was. It would feel very hollow.
Yeah, because you'd be like, no one actually experienced anything that led to this being made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it was so funny.
Yeah.
What if it was really funny?
I mean, you got me there. And I'd watch it.
You're like, boy, this new Adam Sandler movie is just what we needed.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess if it was really funny.
Like, and the computer just sits back smugly. Where it's like, I got you guys figured out.
Yeah.
It's like I was trying to do jokes, so I just had people get bonked on the head.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was talking to a coworker and I was saying that we just need like a good like physical comedy, like slapstick movie.
Hundreds of
like
Beavers.
1930s.
Did you watch that?
No! Hundreds of Beavers. Philip, have you seen the trailer
no,
for
I
Hundreds
have
of
seen
Beavers?
the trailer for it. It's probably about as close as we can get.
I know, we need...
Yeah.
But we need something that's like Three Stooges or like
Yeah.
Charlie Chaplin type thing where it's just borderline no plot. It's just like people getting like bonked for like 3 hours.
That's like what like Fahrenheit 451 predicted we'd all be watching. It's like
That's what we should be
Yeah.
watching.
Yeah.
It'd be better
Come
than
on,
most
Fahrenheit
stuff.
450. That means that old Ray Bradbury probably thought that was lowbrow. Listen, Ray, you don't miss it until it's gone.
It is lowbrow, but there's like something fundamental that it connects with people.
Yeah.
So you... All right.
There's
Mike,
something there.
You got kids.
Uh-huh.
They like... My kids so far get physical comedy like pretty much as soon as they kind of get with it.
Right. Like by 2 or 3 they can
like
laugh
this-
at someone getting bonked.
Yeah.
Yeah. and they'll laugh hard.
They will. They love my daughter loves when people get bonked.
And like I feel like most modern shows have shied away from some of that. Maybe at least for, like from what I've seen on like Disney Plus or whatever. But I'll show them like old Donald Duck cartoons.
Yeah.
And they lose it.
Because it's like all bonks.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Wall to wall
bonks.
bonks. Yeah.
I'm telling you, it needs to come back.
Yeah.
We need
Well,
at least a little bit. We need
maybe
like a few things that are just like solid bunk movies
Yeah.
and shows.
Probably hundreds of beavers.
Yeah.
All bonk all the time. Maybe it'll come back in tandem with handmade things.
Would you watch?
And we'll have fine tastes because we'll be like, oh yes, somebody made this nice dresser for me with their like hands, and it's made of this wood that I enjoy, and I'm gonna sit next to it and watch this bonk movie.
Yeah.
And we will like live in a little utopia.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need it so bad.
It's
Maybe
like there are these communities of people that go out in the desert that are like preppers, like to live off the grid.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do that too, but with bonk movies and homemade sheets.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll still be on the grid, like I don't want to have to figure out plumbing and all that on my own, but
But I'll be like, welcome to my home. Here's some homemade ginger beer. It's kind of musty smelling. That's all.
Yeah. Well,
It's
I don't know.
Fuzzy.
Yeah, I enjoyed the homemade ginger beer tonight. I did enjoy it more because I knew it was homemade. Like, it felt like an adventure.
I just got it surprise. I just got it from Target. Like I just tore the label off.
And put it in this crazy moonshine jug, which I don't even know. I mean, I would believe it if you got that from Target in like a Pottery Barn-esque section.
No, yeah, this originally came with whatever boring cheap apple juice or whatever in it years ago, and I keep this around, even though it's
a great bottle.
It's the most inconvenient bottle to clean ever.
You need like the thing where you like stick it in there and it has like a pipe that sprays. Like there's specialized like cleaning equipment for those. Just get it installed in your kitchen just for that one bottle.
You spend $2,000 to
it's just like this really complex thing just like next to your sink.
Like a little.
You have to get rid of like half your drawers on your island.
Or like a little hedgehog I drop in there and he cleans it like all the Flintstones.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
It's like, it's a living.
Yeah.
The jug, I don't know, it's pretty huge. I don't know if you can fit on this camera.
It's pretty good.
See most of it. Get out of your cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's my jug.
There it
boy,
is.
oh boy, my jug. I've almost thrown it out like a dozen times because it's big and my house is little and there's like no room. So
you can see the delay, because on the left is what you just did, and now it's live. That's funny.
Yeah, you can see the.
Well, that's weird.
The video, because this is like the actual thing this is what Eliza's seeing.
Right.
This is what the camera's seeing. It's like a slight delay. It's not too bad.
Yeah, it's a good moonshine jug. If I had any moonshine, but I don't.
Just some ginger shine.
Just some ginger shine. I think the next one I do is just going to be a whole lot of ginger. Because this had peaches, which I thought I was being extra fancy.
Yeah.
But I found like a lot of ginger beers that have like added things to it, like generally don't work that well.
Because the secret is
best is it's just like straight ginger.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do next time.
Just do like a ton.
And I thought I was putting a ton in. But
wrong.
You knew more.
Yeah, that wasn't like didn't have any kick.
Again, yeah.
It was just it was like a nice tea.
It was the La Croix of ginger beers. LaCroix, the Claw.
Yeah, LaCroix.
LaCroix.
Yeah. Speaking of bonk movies and old cartoons, you guys should do a podcast, or we should do something where it's like riff tracks on old, like 1940s cartoons.
Dude,
that'd be pretty fun.
That would be pretty.
And
fun.
if it's old enough, then if it's public domain, then you could even put it up on YouTube.
Just find like really old, like. Yeah, like 1920s animation.
Yeah. Because, like, some of that stuff, I like watching it, but I don't like watching it enough to, like, actually sit there by myself and watch it. But, like, watching it with friends
there's like a bunch of it. It's
fun.
like the only reason I sat down and watched is because it was for class.
Yeah, because it was for Darryl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was, like, it was very interesting, but also it's, like, I wouldn't, like, choose to, like, I'm going to go watch this, like...
Right.
Whatever... I don't know, like... I can't remember the name of any of those characters from the really old ones.
Like Oswald the Lucky Rabbit.
Yeah. I'm not going to watch an Oswald cartoon just because.
Yeah. When I could
it's
be
like
watching Netflix.
Like, it's almost like a lot of effort to even find where to watch it.
Uh-huh. Right.
You have to, like, go to a library. I don't even know. Some of it's probably not even, like, on YouTube.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is on YouTube.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah. Because I read a history of animation book recently that was actually pretty good, and I would occasionally look up
and it'd just be there.
Stuff. Yeah.
That's
if it's public domain, I think it's pretty much up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of
Fleischer stuff. Yeah.
So a few months ago, I went through. My daughter had learned like what a princess was, and she wanted to like watch stuff with princess.
Yeah.
So every couple of days, I would just watch an old Disney movie.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to hear your takes.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, the secret is most of them are pretty good.
Yeah.
Also, very different. Like watching Snow White, and you're like, oh, this is just like. I mean, I knew that it was just a bunch of gags strung together. Where they're like, here's a little section with Snow White. Now here's like 10 minutes of like fun with the dwarves.
Yes.
And like here's another like little like Snow White thing, and they're like, here's another, because that's how it was pitched.
Yeah, it was all in like gag meetings.
Yeah, well, that's how they pitched it to him. Like they were like, hey, Walt, we make these shorts. Just want to make like string like 4 shorts together.
Yeah.
Make a movie.
Yeah.
I really liked it. It was fun.
It
was fun.
My 4-year-old Cinderella is her favorite.
I liked Oh, hold on. I was trying to like remember all my hot takes.
So Cinderella, a lot of mice action.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, that movie is all mice.
That's right.
Mice running around trying to escape a cat named Lucifer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you mean Rusifret.
Is that what that Gus calls
they're
it?
always like Rusifret.
Yeah.
That's right. It's like the dwarves in that it's like just a gag movie.
Yeah. Because like, let me tell you, drawing Cinderella, that's gonna be hard. You're gonna draw this like rotoscoped like realistic woman. Like, you want to do that, or you want to draw this fat little mouse? Like, I'm gonna draw that fat little mouse all day. Yeah.
Also, it was I don't know what you call it. It was like the funny thing on my mission when you met new people, new missionaries. You'd ask them who their favorite Disney princess was.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. And, 98% of people say Belle. And after watching Cinderella, I was like, nah, man, she's a champ.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, she's a trooper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, she'd be a stellar person to live with.
Yeah.
Like, Belle's all like, Belle would be like, I'm just content.
I don't know. Yeah, Belle was like...
Belle would be like, can we go on an adventure? And
Belle would make you a better person. Like, she definitely rags on the beast pretty hard.
Belle would make
she
books and stuff.
Yeah.
Stupid Belle.
It's funny. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you'd have a clean house with Cinderella. Like, let's not beat around the bush here. Like, or maybe once she was no longer being abused, that would be her way to rebel. It's to never clean anything again. So, which she earned that. She earned that right. She doesn't need to clean anymore. Prince Charming can do the dishes.
Yeah, they're wealthy.
Yeah, yeah.
They can hire a cleaning service.
Right. Yeah.
Probably
staffed by her wretched relatives, because that's how those kinds of stories usually went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's like last shot, and they're like, oh,
yeah,
they get their comeuppance.
Yeah, that's how it ends in Little Princess. Did you ever see that live action movie? 90s.
Yeah.
That's literally how that one ends. Is the evil like orphanage headmistress is now the chimney sweep.
Funny, I don't remember that because I watched it sort of against my will probably a dozen times.
Because it had the name Princess in it.
Well, so my sister, she went through a phase where she just wanted to Cinderella 3.
I didn't even watch Cinderella 2.
I watched Cinderella 2. That one's like a bunch of little short stories. It's kind of rough. Never saw the third one.
Yeah,
Eliza loves Little Princess. That one is very stylized, very interesting. Yeah.
Well, and the secret is, as an adult, I'm like, were those good? Because my little sister also liked the movie Secret Garden.
Okay, yeah.
Which
I think I saw that as a kid, but didn't.
Yeah, which is actually, I think they're books written by the same person, which are all, I guess, about little girls on journeys of self-discovery.
Yeah.
I guess.
Uh-huh.
In difficult situations.
Right.
But, so there's that, and then the other one was Matilda, and I didn't like any of them as a kid.
Yeah, yeah.
But my sister just watched them over and over again.
Yeah, Matilda, I feel like that one probably holds up.
Matilda's probably fun.
Little Princess
Matilda's
held
fun.
up. Yeah.
Secret Garden, I think would be I think if you were to watch it, I think it would be a lovely movie. It's like one of those where, when I reflect back on it, it's like one of those movies where you're like, every like famous actor in England was in that movie.
Yeah. Well, in Matilda, what's that girl's name? She was in every 90s movie for a while. And it's kind of like Danny DeVito in it, I think.
Yeah.
You're right? Yeah.
I think he directed it.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Of all the things. Of all the random...
I really like Matilda.
That box they put her in with all the spikes, that freaked me out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it like as an adult.
It's like
and I didn't
intense.
like it as a kid.
Yeah, it is intense. Oh, and the kid eating the cake is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's such a good scene.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember any of my... I was like, here's all of my things that I thought of these old Disney movies, and I'm like, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Well,
what are the other ones? So Snow White, Beauty and the
Sleeping
Beast.
Beauty.
Oh, yeah, Sleeping
Beauty is interesting.
Yeah.
And besides the fact it's just lovely as can be.
Yeah,
like,
really.
So pretty. But I was like, this movie's just taking its time.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, man, it takes a long time to get to that dragon.
It takes a long time to do anything. That movie's like, has like a lackadaisical pace.
Yeah.
Again, I wish I could freshly remember, because while I was watching them, I'm like, boy, I have all these great thoughts. If only Mike Grover was here. And I would...
Oh man, I would if I was local, I would definitely come watch Disney princess movies with my kids at the Toby house. That'd be pretty fun. And the kids would enjoy it, and we'd be in the back just tearing it apart. Yeah, except that they are amazing in so many ways.
Yeah,
right?
they're really good.
Yeah.
Even though I wasn't like, I didn't really want to like watch any of them ever again, but.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that is how it was with a lot of them. Like, I want to rewatch the Rankin Bass Hobbit movie, but I have a feeling that one might be tough to get through.
You have to force yourself to do it.
Yeah,
that's the It Scared Me as a Child movie.
Oh yeah, and like I don't know how they animated all those wrinkles, man. That movie is all... If Cinderella's all mice, that movie is all wrinkles.
It is. That's like character design choice.
Yeah.
Wrinkles.
Yeah.
Wrinkles.
Did you watch that as a kid, Philip? The old Hobbit movie. Yeah.
Do you know what we're talking like? You should...
I know exactly what you're talking
yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never like sat down and watched it all.
We had it and I'd
but
watch it.
I know just what it looks like.
Me.
Yeah.
I've seen plenty of it.
Right. Yeah. Eliza, I'm in Florida, where I grew up. I'm in the swamp.
He's in Florida right now.
In his heart.
Yep. In my heart, I'm always in Florida. But I'm in Utah this moment, and my lips are chapped because I am not used to this climate.
It's been like relatively humid here, actually.
Oh man, that doesn't even make sense to me. It's humid. I've been thirsty for 6 days.
Mike's like gator skin.
Yeah. Yeah, I drink water and it's like pouring it on the desert floor, like it just disappears. Yeah. Yeah.
The rest of us are like in our dune suits, and we're like, "How you doing, Mike?"
Yeah. Yeah.
So
in your dune suits.
Kind of the opposite experience, because when I go back to Michigan, it's just gonna be humid all the time.
Oh yeah, you're gonna feel like you're swimming.
Yeah. I'm never after the shower. My hair's not gonna be dry.
Yeah. You'll be soaking. You'll never.
My hair, like last year, is just like my hair was just like wet all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We were just in Virginia / DC.
Yeah.
My wife's in-laws, and it was like 102 degrees and 100% humid.
Oh man, that's crazy. That's crazy. Florida doesn't get that hot.
DC gets so.
It was brutal.
Yeah.
It was like step
like
outside.
You're boiling.
You're like, I can't believe this.
Yeah.
But some of my first days there, I went to a sauna, and then later.
And you stepped outside, and you're like, I'm going back into the AC.
Yeah, you're like, I'm going back into the sauna to get cooled down.
Yeah.
But no, later in the visit, I would go in the evening, I was like, I just wanted to like go get my wiggles out. So I'd go on these walks.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd be like the sun will have set, but it's still super hot, still super humid. And I'm like, why on earth did I like pay to go to a sauna?
Yeah.
Because I was just like walking and I'm just like drenched.
Yeah.
It is a sauna outside.
Oh, we got another viewer.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, Madeline.
Well, the humidity, like, mostly when it's like a hotter temperature place, like DC or something, the humidity really, like, at least from my experiences, you get sick of it.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing where I'm at in Florida is we're on the coast, and so you have a breeze, and it doesn't...
That helps a lot.
It doesn't usually get, it'll be low 90s, but it's usually not over 95.
That'd be pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just desperately wanted on those walks, like a breeze would go by, and it would, like, heal my soul, and then it would stop, and I was like, please. Yeah. Please. It's like the only thing.
Because you're like way inland too.
Yeah.
In DC.
Right.
There's like barely a chance for any breeze.
Because
my mission is like.
Where?
In the Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
So it's just it'd be hot and humid, but pretty often you'd get breeziness.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of anywhere you're at on the island, because it's a big island, but. Also, as in like a pretty flat part of the island, so it's just like, especially during hurricane season.
Yeah.
It's just like windy all the time.
Yeah, that's funny. Madeline showed up in the comments in case he just walked out the door. He's like, oh, guess I gotta go home.
Just leave all the cheese here.
I think he's getting some water. Did you guys have hurricanes in the Dominican Republic? Like, did you have to evacuate or anything?
There was one, I think the second year, we didn't have to do anything, but we did, like, stay inside for, like, a day.
Yeah.
Because there was a pretty high chance that it was gonna land in whatever hurricane it was gonna get landfall in the DR, but it didn't.
Yeah.
It, like, took a pretty sharp turn away.
Yeah.
And then it hit Haiti.
Okay. Yeah.
The 2 years I was there were like two of the worst years ever in Haiti, I swear.
Oh man.
As soon as I got there was the earthquake that like leveled the country.
Oh, yeah.
And then a hurricane hit them, and then they had like a really bad like, was it dysentery?
Oh man.
Or whatever. There's
that's one of those countries that's always
there's a big cholera outbreak.
Yeah.
And then there's like civil unrest, and then like the next year it's like, oh, another hurricane.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Is this everything bad happened like over the course of like 2 years? And then it just like kept being bad. And all the news I've ever heard from there is like,
yeah.
Oh, it's like worse now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, it's just like unbelievably bad.
Yeah, yeah, like some disaster with a death toll that like you can't even fathom.
Like,
yeah, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, we get hurricanes in Florida, and Madeline came in during a nice light topic. Yes. Well, here we'll turn it because hurricanes in Florida. Like I'm way too cavalier about hurricanes like I'm nostalgic about hurricanes in Florida because like as a kid you like get school off and like you hang out in your house and there's a big storm and it's kind of exciting and like I didn't have a mortgage so it's not my problem. Yeah,
I mean that's how kind of I felt. I loved hurricane season.
Yeah,
it's like talking to people that actually like, had to experience when an actual hurricane like would hit there.
Right.
I was like, okay, that sounds like it would suck.
Yeah.
I never had to experience it.
Yeah.
And also,
yeah.
it's like if it was bad enough, I'd probably get like flown out of the country or
something.
something.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I just got to walk around in like, I'd just be like walking out in the street and it's like really windy and it's like, you just like stop using an umbrella. It's like I just don't even care that I'm wet now.
Yeah.
And so you're just like. You're almost like, oh, this is kind of fun, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of fun. Yeah.
I'm, like, walking through, like, knee-deep water, and it's, like, raining on me. I'm like, I don't... It, like, was uncomfortable for a bit, and then you're just like, well, this is just how it is.
Yeah.
And actually, I'll just enjoy the experience.
Right.
Like, how wild this is.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so...
Their, like, streets are so, like, poorly done that, like... It just is like flooded all the time. Like when it gets into like rainy seasons, you're just like, all right, just the street is like up to my like knee or deeper sometimes.
Yeah.
And you're just like everybody's just walking through that. People like driving their cars through it.
It tripped so fast.
Ooh. Oh, Casey spilled the honey.
Careful. I spilled the honey.
Great.
But
now Philip's workshop is gonna be sticky.
I'm just trying to get his workshop one way or the other.
Yeah. Yeah, with your exploding soda. Yeah. Okay, so here's my hurricane story. Usually we didn't evacuate because usually it wasn't that bad where we were. And we were like our house was like a couple miles inland, so usually by the time the hurricane hit land, then it dies down a lot.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. But like there was one time, it was probably like a category 5, so we evacuated to a city like 3 hours away usually, but we left a little late when everyone was evacuating, so it was like a 9-hour drive with like 4 kids in the car. Right, this is when I was a kid, but it was with my siblings.
And as a kid, that feels like your whole life.
Oh yeah, it's so long. I think my dad is probably stressed that we're gonna like run out of gas and be stuck on the freeway, like just a nightmare. And so we finally get there and we like wait out the hurricane for a while, and then like it was a long one. Like the hurricane like camped out and like we were there for
like on your house.
For a week. Yeah. And so finally it's like, all right, we got to get out of here. And my dad's like, well, I'm not sitting in traffic again, so we're just going to leave during the hurricane. Like, wow. We're just going to drive home like while the storm is raging. Like we got a generator and a bunch of gasoline strapped to the top of the van. And we're like driving down and like there was a transformer up on a utility pole that we like saw explode like as we were driving. Yeah, it was very exciting. No one else on the road. Took us probably fastest we've ever made that drive.
Now that I'm a dad, I can totally see it though.
Oh yeah.
You're
like just go as fast as you want. Just know you just floor it.
Yeah.
You're like I could be stuck in traffic
in like an hour.
Yeah.
With kids.
Yeah.
Or I could just make a fast drive in the middle of a natural disaster.
Yeah. It's like, I'll take that natural
I'll take the
disaster
natural
every day. Yeah. Did you clean up the stickiness?
Yeah, I got sticky all over everything.
Oh,
I didn't clean
man.
up that very well, but
There's like one thunderstorm a year in Utah.
yeah.
I swear. Well, you guys were gone, there was one.
What?
It was very short. There was like a thunder.
That's kind of how Utah always is there's like a thunder.
Yeah.
Like you'll hear it and you get excited.
You're like,
there's
Yeah.
thunder.
Yeah.
There's a lot more of them like up in the mountains.
Yeah.
Like every once in a
That's
while,
interesting.
once in a while you'll see them like happening. Like in the evening, you might see like flashes in the clouds that are like clearly like way back there. But also last year when I was driving back to Michigan with my sister, we drove like kind of through like towards Park City, and there was like a pretty big thunderstorm going on like, up in there. That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, like around here, it's just like, well, it's just hot and dry.
Yeah.
Though it's like fairly mild usually, though this year it's been hot.
We also had a super, super wet winter and spring.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It rained a lot this spring, didn't it?
It did.
Surprisingly. But, yeah, like the past like month has been like 103.
Yeah, that's hot.
Like most of the time. And it's like really miserable outside.
Yeah.
Like my last week was actually pretty good at the farmer's market, but like the previous like 3 weeks, it was like I was just like sitting there and I was like, this is ridiculous. It was so uncomfortable, and I had to sit there for like 5 hours.
Man.
He's
like, this is not fun.
Yeah.
Usually I don't mind this at all, but it was like too hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And last week it was super nice and overcast and like lovely out, so the entire population of Provo went to that farmer's market.
It sprinkled a tiny bit. I felt like 2 little droplets of rain.
These aren't aesthetic things.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike.
Talking about weather. That's what happens when I come on the podcast. We just talk about the weather.
I don't. It's the meteorological podcast today.
Yeah. Not like a researched meteorological podcast. Just like
it's just
our personal observations about weather in general.
About like current weather.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're like, yeah, Mike, so...
Yeah, I didn't have anything to talk about comics, really, so I guess we'll talk about what rain is like.
I kind of like the idea, though, of like a podcast that's just that.
Yeah, it's just like the conversation you would have with your neighbor.
Guests with like just like normal people, though, but you like fly them in from like New York just to ask them about the weather.
Yeah, what's the weather in New York like? I don't know.
Yeah. How's the weather over there been? You just like talk for like 3 hours about that.
Yeah.
Well, you fly him in just to like have like endless small talk.
Yeah, but it's like the most basic small talk.
Yeah.
So it's just how's the weather?
It's so small talky that it gets deep, but it stays small.
All right. I guess we'll have to make this podcast to find out what that is.
It's just the most like wide breadth. It's not deep at all. It's just there's such a broad.
Yeah. It's all breadth, no depth.
Yeah.
That's the tagline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how's the weather?
Which, that's kind of like what podcasts. That's what, like when I listen to podcasts, I like just people talking, because if I have to pay too much attention, it defeats the purpose. Because I'm just trying to draw with some like white noise in the background. Like I've tried listening to books while I work, and I can't.
Yeah, you have to keep stopping to like listen to something.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay.
Yeah, rewinding it. Like, wait, what happened? Yeah.
So maybe that's a new project idea.
Yep. That's good. Yeah.
That'd be funny. You could make it fun. Or it just be really nothing.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
I did put a lot of weather in my latest comic. So there is that. Yeah. Yeah. So the latest Jake Spooky comic, I am trying to like center it in like a specific location, like it is set in my hometown, and I like tried to like bring that into it, you know, like make the location
bring the weather
more
in.
specific. Yeah, because that's what we really want to talk about. So
that's
gotta
all
make
anybody
that
really cares about.
Yeah, yeah. We're at the mercy of the weather. It's a big part of your life. Like everything we build, like all the buildings you're talking about, it's really just trying to like beat the weather. You're trying to escape.
Basically,
yeah.
And ghosts.
And ghosts, yeah.
Weather and ghosts.
Weather and ghosts. But psych, buildings won't save you from ghosts.
Nope.
Yeah. So, I don't know what to do about that.
For that, you have to read Johanna's book.
Oh, yeah.
It's about
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, she wrote a ghost book.
Yeah, it's about a guy who's nice to ghosts.
What?
And the bad
Bad
guys
idea.
And the bad guys are mean. The bad guys are mean to ghosts.
Okay.
But
yeah.
I'm not very far in because I have this is what we should talk about with as far as comics. I have a tough time with graphic novels. I've told you this before.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I just have it's like my least favorite medium.
Are there any that you like?
Oh, I think we were talking about this like the very tail end of last time?
Yeah, we talked about it a bit.
We'll call that a lead into this.
Uh-huh.
I was trying to think.
Yeah, we're just getting started.
Like, if any of like, there's a lot that in theory I like, but I'm trying to think if any of like really.
Yeah, that you like sat down and really got into.
Yeah, where I was like, oh yeah, this goes in like the pantheon of things that have like moved me or like.
Right.
Where I'm like, oh, this is great, and I can't think of anything.
But like, you read a lot of comic strips.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
those are easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what is the difference?
Who's the really famous guy that draws in kind of like a sort of Disney style? Eisner.
Yeah.
I like those a lot, but those are like little short stories.
Mm-hmm.
Those are, and the way they're put on the page is just absolutely brilliant, and I only know that because I follow them without a single problem. Whereas normally, I'm like looking at the page, and I'm like my eyes are like wandering everywhere, and finally I'm like looking at somewhere else.
Yeah, man, it's hard. That's a hard part about them for sure. Is like clarity and ease of use.
Yeah, I like the sound of your Deeply Dave because that format on the computer is great for me.
Really?
Yeah,
that works well for you.
It's the same thing as a comic strip. Like I'm not, my eyes aren't like wandering all over the gosh dang complicated Watchmen page.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Right. I couldn't even think straight when I read Watchmen. Because it's just so detailed and dense.
Yeah. That's interesting.
I feel like that's kind of that's not a very common problem. I think a lot of people are able to access comics or graphic novels pretty easily.
I don't know though. I think a lot of people don't read comics.
That's
and they just haven't articulated that reason. Because I think you're right. So I'm interested because I've wondered about the scrolling webcomic format, how easy that is for people. Is it annoying to be riding that scroll wheel the whole time?
I really dug it because again, it's just idea after idea, clearly.
I do think as a creator, it's great because I can control the viewer's attention more. It is more like a movie in the sense, with a movie, it's this is what you are looking at.
Yeah.
It's a controlled experience. And same with a webcomic. If it's just one panel at a time, I feel like it's easier to have suspense and surprise you because you're not seeing the whole page all at once. And also it's way easier to design it because it's way more modular. I can pull panels in and out and it doesn't mess up a whole page flow. or even like multiple pages, right? Because with a book, it's important to know where your page turns land. So like for surprises, and with the webcomic format, you don't have to worry about that at all. It's just one panel at a time. So I do like that. What's Madeline saying? It's getting more popular for sure.
That's true. When I've helped her like clean up her classroom, all the kids have graphic novels on their desks.
Yeah, it is very cool that it's exploded in the like the middle grade market is what they call it, like elementary school and up. But because like when we were growing up, there wasn't a graphic novel section in the library.
We had like a tiny one.
Really?
It was like a little stand, like maybe about twice the width of this table, that had like 2 racks on it.
Yeah.
I think it had like Bone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I think that and like something else.
Yeah, if it was like high school, maybe it had Mouse.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah, and you would see like some comic strip collections in there or something, right? But yeah, it was
like pretty limited.
Yeah, and some of these graphic novels, like how old is your daughter?
Madeline, how old is her daughter? She's 3.
Yeah. Okay. So she's she's too young for these probably, but like my kids are really into Dogman, like the Dave Pilkey, because he did Captain Underpants.
I've seen those again just because of.
Yeah, and you look at those, and they're extremely readable. Like you can fly through those, and I feel like he's really like distilled it down. Where and it's interesting because the conceit of those books originally was that it was the comics drawn by the kids in Captain Underpants.
Yeah.
And so, like he drew them even more like stripped down and primitive than like the stuff in Captain Underpants, where like characters just won't even have arms unless they're using them. You know, like, but like it also. It's almost this like graphic design approach to cartooning. Like it really is. It is minimal, and you can just like whip through them. So yeah, and that guy like churns them out too. Like there's a new one every year, and I think he must be making so much money on those books. Yeah.
Oh wait, I've got it. I've got a. It's not a graphic novel per se, but when I was a kid and into kid and older, read a lot of Tintin.
Oh yeah,
but that I never remember having any trouble reading Tintin.
That's interesting because I've I read them too as a kid. I've gone back and picked them up again, and like the text is small. Like I find them a little bit hard to read now.
I haven't tried.
Yeah,
which is funny because somewhere I have like a nice collection of Tintin, but
that's cool.
I haven't seen them in 10 years.
They're beautiful. Or like Asterix, did you read those?
I didn't read those. I had Tintin, and we had a whole bunch of old like hand-me-down Smurf books, which were kind of magical. Yeah, so that's I thought of that because I looked and I was like, oh, growing genre in the West, and I was like, oh yeah, it's cool that Japan has run with it. But then I thought, oh, but yeah, the Franco-Belgian also like ran with it.
Yeah.
Like did their own
Bande
really cool
Dessinée,
thing.
I think. Yeah.
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 So I guess those are some. What are some of your inspirations, Mike?
I definitely like Bone. Did you read that one, Philip?
No, but
okay, but you saw it on the library shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I skipped around and I read most of Bone like at Barnes and Noble.
Yeah.
Just like sit down and grab it off the shelf.
I really like. I have the omnibus version where it's like all of them collected and it's black and white, and I like that way better than like the colorized versions that they've done. Like it was because it was very clearly designed for black and white.
Yeah.
Like very stark, and
the colors like kind of distract you.
Yeah, it kind of muddies it. Like I don't like them at all. But I think when Scholastic was having its graphic novel explosion, they felt like kids needed it.
It needs color.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because that's how I kind of feel with like black and white movies.
Huh?
It's a totally different experience.
Yeah.
Like the way you like look at
frames changes. So after talking about Tarkovsky, I watched Ivan's Childhood.
Yeah.
It's so good. And it's like one of the most beautiful like films I've ever seen. And if it was in color, it would not work. I don't think.
Yeah.
Like the scene in the birch forest or whatever.
So cool.
It's such a crazy looking scene in black and white.
Okay, what movie is this?
Ivan's Childhood.
Okay, gotta put that down.
It's such a good scene. I mean, the whole movie does so many cool things that works because of the super high contrast from black and white. And yeah, the color would screw with it.
Yeah. Did you guys see the new Godzilla movie? Godzilla, what is it? Godzilla -1,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
No, I haven't seen it.
So.
And they had it. They released it in black and white as well. You could see it. Yeah. So I saw that version in theaters. And it was interesting. It definitely helped with the like the computer graphics. Like it helps it blend in a lot better. It seems a lot more realistic.
Oh man, I want to watch.
Yeah,
I
could see that actually.
No, I kind of liked. I've heard a couple people complain about like when he first stomps into Tokyo, he looks like the rubber monster.
Yeah, which I felt was kind of an intentional.
Yeah, I liked it.
Homage, like, yeah, he kind of moves his arms in a weird way.
Like when he first steps, it straight up like looks like a rubber monster.
Yeah.
And I actually really dug it. I was like,
yeah,
alright.
yeah.
But I want to watch it in black and white. That actually sounds, even though
I didn't know they did that.
In the sense of what we're talking about, though, sometimes it can be iffy when there's like these different versions.
Right. If it's not designed for that format.
But I think, like you just said, I think it would help because that I liked a lot of things about the movie, but it definitely had like not Hollywood special effects, but like Japan special effects. They're not quite as good.
Right. Yeah, they didn't have quite the same budget.
We're like a little spoiled.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the black and white could help.
Philip? What other black and white movies do you like?
What other black and white movies? I don't know. Off the
Or
top
Casey.
of my head.
Well, so
I mean, I've seen a bunch that I really like. I was just giving that as an example because that was something I saw recently.
Yeah.
I really, really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And just you mentioning
the comics.
The comic made me think of that because it, like, you're not looking at stuff the same way.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah,
so it's just like it's weird because you don't ever see anything naturally that way, but you're like forced to look almost like purely at like motion.
Interesting, yeah.
Rather than like any kind of color distinction because it doesn't exist. So all you're seeing is the contrasts. And values.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. So it's almost more stylized.
So there's like weird things where like the sky and like trees like are the same like value, and so it creates like these weird effects where that you can't get with color because when it's like this, you see that the sky and the sky is like a light blue, and then the trees are like a light gray.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I can tell they're separate, but then in black and white, they're like the same. And so you get like this weird effect with it where it's like otherworldly.
I wonder when they were making those movies what that was like, because nowadays the director's watching everything on a monitor.
Yeah.
And it's in color. It's the same. Like it looks the same in real life as what they're.
Yeah, I think you just would have had to have a very like experienced cinematographer.
Yeah.
Right. Who like knows what's gonna happen. And they could like run their dailies or rushes or whatever they called them.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, you just have to have like a cinematographer who like knew like what he was gonna get, like the look.
Yeah, there's like the trees are gonna blend in with the sky here. We need to do something. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that movie's like every scene is just like gorgeously composed. And I love the way that like all the conversations work. Is really interesting. Because we're so used to like so many like reverse shot things, or like you're just seeing somebody talk, and in that he does a lot of stuff where there's like no cuts.
Yeah.
In like a conversation, like very rarely. So like instead it's like it'll be somebody in the foreground, and then the person they're talking to is like in the background, and they'll like walk around the room, and the camera will like pan, so it's like keeping them both in the shot, and then they'll like come in close to like whisper something to them or something, and you're like, it was so much more satisfying to watch, because that movie's like mostly just like people talking, but they make it so like pleasant to look at and like engaging, even though it's like just talking about stuff. But yeah, that scene in the forest, they do some fun stuff with like the camera panning around. It's just one long shot. Just like things where like they like turn away from the girl and they're like following the guy for a bit, and they turn back like really quick, and she's like ran like further away, and so it's like she had been like a mid shot, and then it's like pans away for a bit, and then it like comes back around, and she's like this big on the screen, and you're like, oh man, this is like a cool.
It's a super cool.
It's
scene.
like a really, really well thought out. To the point where I'm like, why does nobody like do more stuff like this?
It's kind of as I've wondered.
Because it's like this is so like such a better way of doing so many things. I mean, I guess if too many people did it, it wouldn't be as interesting. But
yeah,
at the same time, though, there's so much you can do if you were to think about that in that way, rather than just like, all right, we need a shot of this person talking and then this person talking, or it's like we need like 3 cameras recording this conversation so we can cut all the best parts. Instead, they're just like, no, we have 1 camera, and we're just gonna really control what the camera's looking at. And it works, especially because it's like you can really tell that it's like the actors are treating it like a conversation. Like they're not approaching it like, oh, we're doing like takes to get like chunks. It's like we're talking about this, and so like they'll have pauses, and like it feels way natural.
Yeah, this is we talked about this director a couple podcasts ago. It's a Russian guy called Tarkovsky, and he doesn't do like montage, so he's not like it's not like like Phil was saying, it's just not like reverse shot where you're like giving the, it's like, I'm talking to you, cut back to me, I'm angry, it's like, oh, he's angry, right? He just does these long takes, and like the actors are like participating inside, like, and you kind of
so it's like a play.
Yeah, but it's very cinematic.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're reading his book, and that's something he talks about, where it's like, it shouldn't be like a play.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because it's...
Early cinema was like a play.
Yeah.
And that's something he very much, like...
It's not static like a play. It's super dynamic.
Like I was saying, like, the camera is, like, very much, like...
Which that took a lot of work back then.
Very choreographed.
Yeah, like, the way that the actors move, like, in and out of the space, and the camera... functions in it as well. It's a lot. It was interesting, like, reading some of his thoughts and then watching that, because you can really tell, like, even though, like, he even says in the book, he's like, I didn't like have these ideas like formed when I first started making films. This is because he wrote a book like kind of at the end of his career.
Yeah.
And he's just like, this is me looking back at what I've done and kind of piecing together what kind of my natural philosophy on it is.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And so it's like interesting going back and watching, like, I can see how he very much like where he's coming from and how he's not approaching it. Yeah, like just
And he has a little whatever he says in there, or how he puts it, but he talks about how like life is always unique in the sense of like, you know, this situation has never happened before. Right? We're all like things like it, but not like this.
Yeah.
And so he's like, so like the stuff you see, like people should like express these. They're like, life isn't the same as anyone else's, and they should like express that. So what he's saying is like he talking about the mise en scène.
Yeah, he talks about that a whole lot.
That like it should be different. And so just like this scene he's talking about, it's just super cool. It's just like this couple kind of playing like will they won't they in the forest. Yeah. Like the guy's like flirting with the girl and she's being like coy, but it's like it's just super weird and interesting. Like they're just like, it's just like this very dense burst forest. And he's like they're like dancing in and out of it with the camera kind of. But it's just like, it's really like, you've never seen anything like it before, and he does that a lot in his movies. I feel like that in general is a pretty like good rule to apply across all sorts of artistic mediums.
Yeah.
But then, I guess you could say, don't be tropey, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like, because that's kind of what it is, because he talks about that too, where he's like, you know, like, what's the point of, like, let's say you wanted to make a movie and you decided to have a scene that's composed like a famous painting. He's like, why would you do that? The painting exists and it already did that thing. You can look at the painting for that and it will be better anyway, because that was, it's like the true thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're gonna say have like the same scene but you're doing it as a film, it should be done as a film.
So yeah, maximize your medium.
Yeah, it's like it should be.
Format.
And he talks a lot about like, not a lot, but he does mention, for example, like adapting a book to a film. And yeah, how it's like it's not really gonna be the same thing.
Yeah, you like don't have to answer to the book.
Yeah, it's like you should. It's like you don't. Because they're two totally separate mediums that have like a different.
Yeah.
The way they're treated is differently, and you shouldn't be trying to just like transpose it.
Right. Right.
It's like it's its own thing that should be treated appropriately. Because like, was it Solaris?
Yeah.
Is a book that and he made a movie.
Oh, interesting.
But,
okay, I haven't seen it, but I'm familiar with that one.
Yeah, but yeah, that's one I haven't seen that or read the book, and I'd actually be curious to do both just to kind of see.
Yeah.
How his philosophy and his practice work with that, because it's probably really interesting.
Here's an interesting thought. So it's gonna be very complimentary to Mike. But like, okay, so you make these comics, and you don't even have to like think about. You're not like consciously like, I'm gonna make this different, because I feel like when people do that, they get like weird stuff. But I don't know. You almost don't have to like. Just like naturally, you make something really different. I feel like most people do. Like if they kind of like find, I guess you'd call it like your artistic voice.
Right.
You're not like, when people aren't like chasing any sort of like artistic trend.
Yeah. Yeah, like if you tap into what you really like and what resonates with you.
So that was kind of like a half-baked thought, but I was essentially thinking, oh, well, Mike makes these comics. They're different than anything, right? Which is kind of what he's talking about. Which is essentially like each person would have completely different experiences, and why not like have their own voice, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, if you're just doing it naturally, you don't have to like even like wax philosophical about it.
Right. Though I do think you have to actively resist the urge to rely on cliche and like what's already been done. Like I like I do find myself going, and I appreciate the compliment. I don't think I'm perfect with that, because I find myself going through my work and my drafts of writing and like finding lines where it's like, well, that's a very cliche way to phrase that.
Yeah.
Like I gotta throw that out and come up with a different way to frame it, different way to say that. And you see it in movies all the time. Like if you've seen on YouTube, there'll be like a montage of like every time someone like a character on a headset has said to someone else, like, you got to get out of there.
And like Tarkovsky's, what is his example? He's like, if I see one more pair of forlorn lovers separated by like a fence or something,
Yeah.
like in a movie.
Yeah.
And you don't even, like, when you're writing or coming up with something, you won't even realize you're doing it, that you're putting it in there, that you're putting in stuff that isn't actually from your life. It's just stuff you've seen in media. Yeah.
Tolstoy also has a lot to say about that.
We've Got Company. That's the other one.
Got
How many
Company.
times have you heard that in the movie?
Because it sounds so cool.
Yeah, it's a good line.
Did Harrison Ford say absolutely every one of these things first? I feel like he did.
Maybe, yeah. We've Got Company, he definitely said. I don't know if he said it first.
Just because we watched like a little chunk of New Hope randomly like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, everything out of his mouth sounds awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like everything out of every like line out of Han Solo's mouth, you're just like, dang.
And it ain't the script that's doing that. that's Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
So maybe he just said every cool line.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe if he had said all the lines in the movie, they'd all sound great. Right? Like, that's funny. Well, I should probably go soon.
Yeah, it's pretty late.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, the director of House. He's like the ultimate example of that. So there's this.
He's like too far.
He's like It's like one of my favorite movies. Is this like Japanese horror film called House.
Yeah.
And we watched the director's commentary on it.
Mm-hmm.
And one of these he said is, he's like, okay, when I was making this, one of the things I always had on my mind is, how would Akira Kurosawa do this scene?
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Okay.
So basically, like, the whole, and so the movie's just full of like all these like weird things going on.
Yeah.
Like doing all kinds of like weird like, I don't know, all sorts of weird stuff, like all kinds of weird like editing things that they did, all kinds of weird like compositions.
What year was it roughly?
It was like,
or what decade at least?
Late 70s, early 80s or something.
Yeah, so there's a lot of 70s,
like
a lot of experimentation going on.
Because there's some really cool scenes, like the scene like where the mom and the dad are like on the porch talking, and there's like it's like there's like the weird like crystal glass that you're like watching it through. So like they're like moving around, and like there's like you see like 100 versions of them like all like at like crazy angles and stuff, because it's like that, like I don't know what you call it. It's like that crystal like diamond shaped glass.
Yeah, so it's like refracting.
It's like cut glass, like
yeah, I can imagine.
Like barrier, and so it's like it looks really cool.
Uh-huh.
It's like a really cheesy movie.
Yeah.
And goofy. Uh-huh. It's like the goofiest horror movie you'll ever see. But
if you ever have the chance to like see that with some buddies,
it's a lot of fun.
It is. It's.
Well, we'll do that. We'll watch some old cartoons, and we'll watch House.
House. Yeah, that was something I was just thinking about just now, because I was like, he very much was like, is this a trope?
Yeah.
If it is, I'm not doing it. I'm gonna do just. It has to be something weird.
Yeah.
Like I can't do this. Like he has like there's like the scene when they introduce all the girls, and it's like They have like all these weird like circular like cutout things like overlaid with like their face doing stuff while it's like a wide shot. You're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're like, I'm understanding what they're doing, but it's just like a really odd way to do this.
Yeah.
Like normally it would be way different, but it's like, I just like really appreciate. There's like, they did the experiment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like, I love that.
Oh yeah, me too.
So.
That's cool. Yeah, I'll have to check that one out.
Well, thanks for coming on, Mike.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, at the end of every episode, our guest has to chug the
rest of the ginger beer.
The rest
oh
of the
man, I
ginger
should have
beer.
been drinking more throughout.
It's our time-honored tradition.
Yep.
It's now turned into one of those like gross out podcasts.
Yeah.
AKA or YouTube shows.
All right, I'll just.
Wow. Integral. All right.
I did it.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks guys. This was very, very fun.
That was good. Very fun. All right.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Gonna drive back to Florida now.
Just gonna drive back.
You
Thanks
drive
for driving
here?
here from Florida.
No, I didn't drive here.